at 9.
1986, truly a champagne year for the New York Mets. On September 17th, the Mets clinched the Eastern Division Championship with a 4-2 win at Shea over the Chicago Cubs. As a ground ball to second base ended it, and the inevitable became a reality. Then it was on to Houston for a very difficult playoff series with the Houston Astros, and in a 16-inning thriller, the New York Mets once again became champions of the National League for the first time since 1973. In the World Series, Game 6, an improbable comeback as Mookie Wilson's ground ball gets through the legs of Bill Buckner, and the Mets, coming from behind, score in the final inning to push the series to Game 7. In that seventh and deciding game, Jesse Orosco on the mound getting the final out, and the New York Mets are the world's champions of Major League Baseball for the second time in their 25 years. The Mets management, players, and fans all hoping that 1987 will be a repeat of 86's champagne season. Live from St. Petersburg, Florida, WOR-TV is proud to present its 26th consecutive year of New York Mets championship baseball. Mets Baseball 87 is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the Go Anywhere Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By New Jersey Bell. By American Express. And by RC Cola. Some people go out of their way for the great taste of RC. Live from Al Lang Stadium in St. Petersburg, Florida, WOR-TV presents New York Mets preseason baseball, as today, the Mets take on the Boston Red Sox. Pitching for the Red Sox today, right-hander Al Nipper, who's 10-12 with a 5.38 ERA in 1986. And on the mound for the Mets, it's left-hander Sid Fernandez, who was 16-6 with an ERA of 3.52 last season.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver, Steve Zabriskie, and Rusty Staub, all set to bring you exciting baseball again here this year in 1987. The Mets have 75 games in the regular season that you'll be seeing right here on WOR-TV, and also we're going to be bringing you 7 exhibition games throughout the spring training period. So it's baseball again here in 1987, and we're looking forward to another great season. It was just about 4 months and 2 weeks ago that the Mets had one of the most pivotal games in the history of the ball club when they won that 6th game, and they were down to their last strike and practically no chance to win. They came back to win that ball game in 10 innings, won the 7th game, and became the world's champions. How do you beat that year? Well, stay with us. It might be beaten this year. So right now, let's go to Tim McCarver.
All right, thanks a lot, Ralph, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, for another year on WOR. And it is delightful to be back in this beautiful weather. I guess the big story in spring training floating around right now, the biggest story in the major leagues, is one of Roger Clemens. And here to discuss the Roger Clemens situation is Lou Gorman, the ex-Met, and formerly the ex-Met, and now the general manager of the Boston Red Sox. Lou, can you fill us in on the Clemens situation?
Well, you know, because he walked out of camp last Friday and has not, we started the fine on Wednesday, which is $1,000 a day. But the big thing is trying to get him back and get him signed. I've been talking with his agent. We broke off for a while, but we're back talking again. We're trying to find a way to resolve it, get him signed, and get him in camp. Hopefully we'll get that done soon.
Rich Gedman also has declared free agency, the catcher for the Red Sox last year, and he hasn't signed with anybody. The chances of signing him after the May 1st deadline?
I think very good, Timmy. I think that we made a great offer to him. It was almost $2.7 million guaranteed for 3 years. No one's come close to that offer. I'm confident we're going to get him back on May the 1st and get him in a Red Sox uniform. Every day that passes in spring training, I'm more convinced he'll be back with us. He's working out back home, staying in shape. I'm just convinced that on May 1st he'll be in a Red Sox uniform.
Quickly, Lou, if there is pressure, is the pressure on the side of management or is it on the side of Roger Clemens to sign?
Well, both ways, Timmy, because, you know, if he stays out all year, it's going to hurt him financially this year and next year. Obviously, here it's our ball club greatly if he's not here. I think it's a two-edged sword that both of us could have if the player doesn't show up. So it's to our advantage to get him signed, his advantage to be in camp and be signed.
Lou Gorman, the general manager of the Boston Red Sox, I want to thank you, Lou, very much, and the best to you.
Thanks, Timmy. To you guys, too.
Now let's go over to Steve Zabriskie and his special guest.
Thanks, Timmy, and hi, everybody. Welcome back to another year of Mets baseball here on WOR. Well, while most of the offseason discussion around baseball is centered on those players who have not re-signed, the New York Mets have been one of the only teams in baseball to re-sign all the players they want to do without having to automatically renew anybody's contract. And with me is the Major League Baseball Executive of the Year for 1986, Mets General Manager Frank Cashen. And Frank, what difference has winning the championship and the new stance being taken by management this year made in your negotiations, even though you and Al Harrison have been able to sign everybody?
Not a great deal, really. I think our ball players are kind of anxious to sign, kind of anxious to get back and prove that they can win again. The other thing about our ball club is that if somebody wants to stay out of camp, they may not have a job when they get back. And I have great sympathy for Boston and for Lou Gorman and his ball club. I don't think any ball player is bigger than the team. I think baseball is a team game. You have to win it that way, and it is tragic that Clemens is not in camp, but as I say, I don't think any ball player can be bigger than the team.
And that, of course, has led to the Mets' success because their organization is deep, and that makes a big, big difference. Thank you, Frank, and we'll look forward to another great year.
Okay, thank you very much. It's great to be back in Florida and in baseball and on the air again.
Let's go after it. We'll be back with the start of the game between the Mets and the Red Sox right after this for Budweiser.
This Bud's for all that you do.
They said this city was through. You said, no way.
Each day the spirit's growing. Your pride is really showing. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
When BMW and Mercedes heard about a new challenge to their luxury sedans, they laughed. When Motor Trend said the Acura Legend was a better BMW and would broadside the elitist German sports sedans, they smiled. When they heard the Acura Legend cost $8,000 less than a BMW 528e and $16,000 less than a Mercedes 190 E16, they completely lost that celebrated German sense of humor. The Acura Legend, sensibly priced at about $20,000. Call your Tri-State Acura dealer for a test drive.
The time has come for a new gasoline. So we combine the economy of unleaded regular and the power of premium to bring you a new class of unleaded gasoline. New Exxon Plus Unleaded with XCL12. It's higher in octane than unleaded regulars and lower in price than premiums. For smooth performance, discover new Exxon Plus Unleaded, the gasoline whose time has come.
Turn it up, Delco sound. It'll turn your head around, and you'll love it too much to leave it. Chance and beat, got the power, yeah. Ooh, the heat, turn it louder. Feel the power, Delco sound, all around. Delco's built-in sound. You're gonna love it too much to leave it.
Well, that placard says it all for last year, but this year every team at this point is 0-0.
And away we go, right?
And away we go. And 75 games coming your way on WRTV this year, and also 7 of those games will be televised in addition to the 75 this spring training. And the New York Mets are taking the field. The world's champions. They have a record so far this year of 4 wins and 3 losses. They lost their first 3 ball games. They've won their last 4. And they're playing the Red Sox, and the Red Sox with a record of 5-2 for spring training. It'll be Sid Fernandez on the mound, who had a sensational World Series against the Red Sox in relief. And right now, our national anthem. anthem on a beautiful day for baseball. And for the Mets, it'll be Sid Fernandez. Last year with a record of 16-6 with an earned run average of 3.52. He was in 32 games, 31 as a starting pitcher, had 2 complete games, 1 shutout, worked 204 1/3 innings, and struck out 200, and also walked 91. Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets.
And the lineup for the Boston Red Sox. Some people are tabbing this game, Game 8 of the World Series, by the way. Ellis Burks, the young center fielder, leading off. Spike Owen, the shortstop, batting second, followed by Marty Barrett, the second baseman, hitting in an unusual third spot today. Jim Rice, the left fielder, batting fourth. Don Baylor, the first baseman, hitting fifth. Dwight Evans, what a career he has had with the Red Sox. He's batting sixth and playing right field. Glenn Hoffman, who has missed 2 of the last 3 years with injuries, rather serious injury last year and illness, will be batting seventh and playing third base today. Mark Sullivan, the son of general manager and part owner of the Red Sox, Haywood Sullivan, the catcher, batting eighth, and Al Nipper on the mound. Al with a record of 10-12 last season, and of course no batting average.
And defensively for the Mets, Hernandez is at first base, Backman at second base, Santana playing shortstop, and Johnson at third. In the outfield, newcomer McReynolds in left field, played at San Diego last year. And in center field, Lenny Dykstra with Darryl Strawberry in right. The catcher, Gary Carter, and of course Sid Fernandez with a lifetime record in the major leagues of 31-22 on the mound for the Mets. Well, the Red Sox, of course, 1 strike away from being the world's champions in the 6th game of the World Series. The Mets came back to win that ball game. And Wade Boggs, the American League's leading batter, had this to say. He said, "I think we'd all like to forget it, but it's hard to forget because everybody keeps bringing it up." And that's the way it is.
And the Mets, all they want to do is to continue to remember the 1985 World Series, the 1986 World Series.
And John McNamara, the manager of the Boston Red Sox, and flanked by Pesky, who was an outstanding shortstop for the Red Sox.
Speaking of memorable, it was Johnny Pesky in that 46 series. We'll try to talk about that today.
And the first pitch of the ball game by Sid Fernandez. A fastball into Ellis Burks, and it's a called strike. Burks hitting .293 last year for New Britain with 14 home runs, 55 RBIs. 1946 World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals. Fly ball out to left center. Dykstra off and running. McReynolds, though, making the call and catch, and the first out of the ball game. Pesky, of course, was the shortstop in that series when Enos Slaughter scored from first base on a hit-and-run 2-base hit that won the ball game for the St. Louis Cardinals. And they have said that Pesky's hesitation cost the Boston Red Sox that World Series.
That double hit by Harry Walker.
Harry the Hat Walker.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people call it a single, but it was recorded as a 2-base hit, so that is the official version of it. Now the batter will be Spike Owens, and the fastball by Fernandez for ball 1. Owens had 183 last year for the Boston Red Sox with 1 home run, 10 runs batted in, and 126 at-bats. He started the season with Seattle and batted .246 before he was traded to the Red Sox. This ball out to right field, but in foul territory. Wind's blowing out toward right field. Really of no consequence to Spike Owens, who is not a power hitter.
Had only 1 home run last year. And we talked in our pregame comments about Roger Clemens. Spike Owen was a teammate of Roger Clemens down at the University of Texas down in Austin.
Again, a foul ball off the fastball, and the count 1-2. Spike taking over the shortstop duties when the Red Sox got hot at the, well, just about the last third of the season.
Really a good deal for the Red Sox. They got Spike Owen and Dave Henderson for Ray Quinones and a couple of right-handed pitchers. Mark Trujillo being one of them, trading from the Seattle Mariners.
Bounced up the middle, cut off by Santana. The throw will pick up the out. And, of course, Henderson was the man who saved the Red Sox in the playoffs with the California Angels with a home run that got them back when they were down to their one strike to be eliminated by the Angels.
He had two two-run homers in that Game 5, the Angels and the Red Sox. One he knocked over the fence, the other one he hit over the fence.
One hitting that glove and bouncing over.
Wasn't that something?
Now the man who was outstanding ball player in the playoffs, he was the MVP in the American League Championship Series for the Boston Red Sox and batted .433 in the World Series against the Mets with 13 base hits. And that man is Marty Barrett. Boy, he had a good series.
I'll say he tied Lou Brock in '68 and Bobby Richardson in '64 for the most hits in a World Series.
And he was the man who made the last out, the important out for the Mets. He was struck out by Jesse Orosco for the final out of the World Series. Barrett hit .286 last year, and the fastball fouled back.
I've never really thought about this until just now, but I played against Richardson in the '64 series, played with Brock in the '68 series, and saw Barrett last year. Approached it from every angle.
Last time the Red Sox won a World Series is back in 1918. They beat the Cubs when they played at Comiskey Park. And Babe Ruth was the star pitcher of that World Series. Fly ball out to right, Strawberry there. And Fernandez works a 1-2-3 inning. The score at the end of one half inning, the Red Sox nothing, the Mets coming up. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
For over 20 years, Manufacturers Hanover has been coming through for us.
We got the low. We got the low. We got the low.
Today, we're a mid-sized company, and they're still committed to helping us grow. With credits and bottom-line ideas like the Business Manager. It's a cash management and accounting package designed for our size company. Simple, even for me. And they're the only bank that offers it. That's commitment.
Nice. That ours?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
The Business Manager, another bottom line idea from Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
I've been an HIP physician for over 30 years now.
Dr. Jesse Janpol.
In an HIP group, all of the doctors work closely together. A consultation with another specialist is as easy as walking down the hall. Because we all work so closely together, our patients get better care.
You'll find a doctor you can call your own at HIP. Just ask at work about HIP's health plan for Greater New York.
The 1988 Renault Medallion, with more standard horsepower than Nissan 200 SX, more passenger room than Oldsmobile Calais, $1,000 less than Mazda 626. Medallion wagon is available with 7 passenger seating, plus Medallion 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty standard.
See your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Renault Jeep Performers, the right guys.
Qantas flies more people to Australia and the South Pacific than any other airline. So come with us to Australia for our lowest fare in 10 years. Just $896, round trip. $896? Oh, no.
Al Nipper in the mound for the Red Sox, 10-12 last year, 5.38 ERA and 26 game starts. He had 3 complete games, worked 159 innings, gave up 186 hits, walked 47, and struck out 79.
And the lineup for the Mets, Len Dykstra leading off, followed by Wally Backman, Keith Hernandez batting 3rd, catcher Gary Carter hitting 4th, Darryl Strawberry, the right fielder, batting 5th, left fielder Kevin McReynolds hitting 6th, Howard Johnson at 3rd, batting 7th, Rafael Santana, the slick fielding shortstop, batting 8th, and Sid Fernandez batting 9th.
And Len Dykstra, the leadoff for the Mets, and the first pitch hit in the air to deep center field. And it will be caught there by Ellis Burks as Dykstra bids to take up where he left off against Nipper. He had a home run against Nipper in the World Series.
He led off Game 3 of the series with a home run. This is more of a wind-blown home run. It's very tough to decide in spring training whether you have the power when you go up east that you have down here because of all the conditions, windy conditions here in spring training.
So Dykstra just misses on his bid for that home run on the first pitch by Nipper, and it brings up Wally Backman. Incidentally, Dykstra hit .295 last year with 8 home runs. Wally Backman hit .320 last year with 1 home run. And the first pitch is hit on the line, soft line drive to the shortstop Owen, and Spike makes the out. So 2 pitches, 2 men away. Sniffer with a record of 10 and 12 last year. Appeared in 2 games in the World Series and was the losing pitcher in the 4th game. The big blow in that ball game was by Gary Carter when he broke a 0-0 ball game with a 2-run home run. Now it's Keith Hernandez. Keith hit .310 last year with 13 home runs, 83 runs batted in. And ball 1. Keith led the National League in walks last season. His on-base percentage over 400. And he pops up a fastball, and fighting off the cameras and what have you is the third baseman Glenn Hoffman, and he drops the ball. Good try there.
That's all Glenn Hoffman needs. Last year, he was out with a mild cardiac problem, mitral valve prolapse syndrome. Easy for me to say, huh? And 2 years before that, he had shoulder problems. He opened the season with a sprained ankle last year, and here in spring training, he's tested near the cameras.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Hoffman was really in just a few ball games last year, had 23 at-bats. And he had that mild heart condition.
Uh-huh.
So now Keith with a count of 1-1. 2 men away, no score, bottom of the 1st inning. Pitch in there for a called strike 1 and 2.
That mild heart condition. A heart condition's a heart condition. It's like your definition of major surgery.
Well, mine is surgery. It's only when it's on somebody else. It's major when it's on you. Again, the off-speed pitch, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That looked like a split-finger fastball.
Sure did, didn't it? I'd have to say the last 2 were split fingers. And there's a breaking ball, a slider that's fouled. The count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Keith Hernandez, lifetime .300 batter for the New York Mets. And he'll be followed by Gary Carter. Carter looking on as he remembers the 2-run home run he hit off Al Nipper in the 4th game of the World Series. The Mets won that game to even up the series at 2-2. Mets won at 6-2. This ball grounded fouled on the first base side, so the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The leisure of spring training games. Well, this is the first really good day the Mets have seen since they started the spring training season.
Unusually cold and windy and rainy down here in St. Petersburg.
Now the count fills out, and with 2 men out, 3-2 on Keith Hernandez. Lucky now. So both pitchers work 1, 2, 3 in the 1st inning. And the score at the end of 1, the Red Sox nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Nissan.
Nissan's introduced more new cars in a year than anyone in history, plus a whole new attitude.
We got the power to make you move. We make you feel like driving. We make you feel like driving.
They're waiting for you, the wide-open Pulsar NX, the longest wide-body van, and the Pathfinder 4x4 of the year.
We make you feel like driving, and the name is Nissan.
Talk, talk, talk. Every morning your radio is full of talk. Unless you wake up to the Rock and Roll Morning Show on 102.7 WNEW-FM, where we let the music do the talking. Every morning you can count on Breakfast with the Beatles, a shot of Bruce Juice, something old, new, borrowed, and blue, and other music features, plus news, traffic, sports, and weather. Set your clock radio to where the music does the talking. Wake up where rock lives. 102.7 WNEW-FM.
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing.
Sadowski, Shivoski.
A chance.
Pronounced Shivoski. You're gonna make it here, 'cause you make America work, and this fight's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste
Hey, Sid.
that says Budweiser.
This bud's for you.
Magnum's Too Late to Save a Glamorous Movie Star, Monday night at 6.
Bud Harrelson, the acting manager for the New York Mets. Davey Johnson staying over on the east coast of Florida. The Mets played at Vero Beach against the Dodgers yesterday, winning. And Davey's, for personal reasons, not coming back from that trip over there, about a 4-hour drive. And Bud Harrelson running the ball club. No score. We're in the top of the second inning. And it will be Jim Rice to lead off for Boston. Rice hit .324 last year. Drove in 110 runs. Rice will be followed by Don Baylor and Dewey Evans. Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets, and the fastball is missed. Sid got cuffed around in his first start. That was against Toronto, and Dunedin was reached for 5 home runs in 3 innings of work. 7 of the runs that scored were unearned, but Sid was hit hard in that first appearance. Now here in the second, he's worked a 1-2-3 inning and is starting off with Jim Rice as his 4th batter. Good fastball, just missing. 2 balls and 1 strike. He's throwing a little bit better than he did in that first game, which is understandable.
Normal. And Sid also, as you look at Don Baylor on deck, Sid, not unlike Gooden. Gooden gave up 9 runs his first outing in the first inning. Pitched scoreless ball in 3 innings yesterday. Pitching usually, for the most part, ahead of the hitters till about the middle of May. 1st of May or so, depending on where you go. Southern California teams, of course, the hitters have a much better chance of staying even with the pitchers because they can work out all winter.
And the fastball again. 3-2. The Dodgers start their pre-spring training in Dodger Stadium sometime, that's 1st February. And ball 4, so Rice becomes the first base runner of this game here in the second with no one out. That'll bring up Don Baylor.
Excuse me, Ralph. Guys talk about working out in the wintertime, but until you get the bat, you can take all the strength training and everything you want. Now, obviously, it helps keeping your weight down, running, what have you. But you've got to be able to swing the bat.
Spring training a little bit different than it was when they started spring training back in the 1800s. And Baylor takes high. Baylor with a .238 average last year with 31 home runs, 94 RBIs. Cap Anderson took 14 of his Chicago White Sox to Hot Springs, Arkansas in 1886, and his goal was to boil out the alcoholic microbes of his ball players. It's a little different today. One of those players was an outfielder named Billy Sunday, who had a lifetime batting average of .248, and Sunday led the fight for prohibition later on. Good fastball, and Baylor behind it.
He couldn't shut Billy Sunday down, and he couldn't shut Chicago down, right?
That's right. Here's that last pitch, and some mustard.
Yeah, he had some good heat on that one. High fastball, and that's where Fernandez is most effective, is up in the strike zone. A riding type fastball.
Rice not a threat to steal. He didn't have a stolen base last year. And again, the fastball, 2-2.
Nobody on the Red Sox team's a threat to steal, really.
No, they're standstill ball club.
Base to base. That's why they're hoping that possibly Ellis Burks, the young center fielder who's starting today's game, makes the club. He had 31 stolen bases last year in Pawtucket.
Off-speed pitch, and it goes to 3-2. You know, Babe Ruth used Hot Springs, Arkansas for a pre-spring training site. The thing is, he usually left there in worse shape than he went in.
Probably used it when he was a pitcher for the Red Sox.
Great pitcher for the Red Sox before he turned baseball around with a home run. Strike 3, runner not going with the pitch, and Baylor called out on strikes. He didn't like like the call by Dave Pallone, a National League umpire. Dave Pallone behind home plate. Rich Garcia, an American League umpire at first, and Dick Stello, a National League umpire at third.
Well, a good fastball. Baylor thought it was outside. A very close pitch. Mildly argues the call with Dave Pallone. Don Baylor, the MVP in the American League in 1979 while a member of the Angels.
And that brings up Dewey Evans, Dwight Evans, batting at .259 last season with 26 home runs and 97 RBIs. Fine fielding outfielder. And it's ball one. One strike. You know, back in 1888, the Washington Senators became the first team to train in Florida. They trained in Jacksonville, Florida. And Connie Mack was a young catcher in that team. Connie Mack, of course, the manager of the Athletics for many years, the owner and manager. Fastball outside. He told a reporter that by the time they arrived in Jacksonville, 4 of the 14 players were reasonably sober. The rest were totally drunk.
From those comments, Ralph, you are leading us to believe that the reason spring training was initiated was because of the over-imbibing of the players.
Those cold winter nights.
Evidently.
I'll tell you, though, they took it seriously in 1894 when Baltimore spent 8 weeks in Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
There's a breaking ball. The Oriole manager was Ned Hanlon. And he concentrated on nothing but baseball. He introduced bunting, the hit and run, and the concept of hitting to all fields.
None of which Dwight Evans did on that curveball.
So 2 men away on consecutive strikeouts after the walk, and it brings up Glenn Hoffman. Sid Fernandez working to Glenn Hoffman, trying to get back into physical shape, able to play baseball again. He started the season in the major leagues as a shortstop. He's playing third in this ballgame. Incidentally, that 1894 team won the pennant, beating the favored Giants. And on that Oriole team, a fellow named John McGraw, who later on was to be a great leader as manager of the New York Giants. Also on that team, Wee Willie Keeler, who had the adage, hit them where they ain't. One of the great early day hitters in baseball. This ball up the middle, cut off by, at least tried to be cut off by Santana, didn't get to it. It's a base hit, and that's the first hit of the game as Rice goes to second base.
And that's on your cue of Wee Willie Keeler. You talk about hitting them where they ain't. Ain't nobody here.
Santana looks like he might get to it, but he goes under the glove.
Wee Willie, looking on from somewhere, would have loved that.
So a broken bat base hit by Glenn Hoffman, and the first hit of the game, and it brings up Mark Sullivan. Sullivan, a great year at Pawtucket last year, hitting .320 in 97 ball games, and the son of the general manager of the Red Sox, who was a catcher and an outstanding defensive catcher for years for Boston. Fastball fouled back, strike one.
Well, you heard Lou Gorman, the general manager of the Red Sox. You heard his remarks before the game concerning Rich Gedman. Rather surprising, Ralph, that Lou said it was almost an assurity that as the spring training games go on and the days go on, that Rich Gedman will be wearing a Red Sox uniform after May 1st.
Cannot play and cannot be signed by the Red Sox till May 1st.
Can't even talk to him about being signed. I'm sure all clubs will adhere to that.
Absolutely. The letter of the law. Same case might exist with Bob Boone, a catcher for the Angels, who played out his option. John Candelaria had a great line about Bob Boone. I think it's great. You know, Boone refused $833,000 a year in salary plus incentives because he wanted $10,000 more. John Candelaria said, that shows me one thing. Don't go to Stanford. Boone graduated cum laude from Stanford. Coming around from second is Jim Rice. A throw by Strawberry. In time, but on by Gary Carter. Play is backed up by Sid Fernandez as Sullivan goes down to second as the throw gets away, and the Red Sox lead 1-0 as Rice scores.
I think a lot of people would think that this throw by Strawberry is a good throw. It's very difficult to throw from the outfield because you have to give your catcher a good hop. Now, this throw is on line, but watch the short hop. It's one of those in-between hops for Carter to handle, and as a result, it gets by Gary Carter, and Rice scores. See that in-between hop? The ball's still going up on the hop, and it makes it very difficult for anybody to field a hop like that.
And we'll see whether or not an error will be charged. Probably not. And the batter will be Al Nipper, the pitcher, who would normally not be hitting if they were playing American League rules. A DH would be used, but since they're playing in a National League park, they're using the National League rules, and the pitcher has to bat. Red Sox leading 1-0 as Sid Fernandez gives up a base hit to Glenn Hoffman and a single by Mark Sullivan. And on a walk to Jim Rice, Rice scoring the first run of the game and a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Al Nipper. Runners at third and second base, 2 men away. Fastball swung on, pretty good swing by Nipper, fouled off, and it's 1-2. Sid Fernandez, acquired from the Dodgers. Struck him out. So Sid Fernandez strikes out the side, but has reached for 1 run on a walk and 2 hits, and 2 men were left in scoring position. The score after 1.5, the Red Sox 1, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Budweiser.
This Bud's for all that you do.
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing. A chance.
Sadowski. Shiboski. It's pronounced Shiboski.
You're here to make a new start, but starting out's the hard part. Whatever the test, you give it your best. You'll show you got the heart, 'cause you make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers.
Hey, Sid.
You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
At Bay Ridge, my family make buying cars simple, right? Choose your car. We got thousands, backed by quality service. No matter which Bay Ridge, Dodge, Hyundai, Lincoln Mercury, Mitsubishi, Subaru, and Toyota, you get the lowest price. We guarantee it.
And we deliver.
Union Army Misfits guard Yankee Gold on the $1 Million Movie, tonight at 9.
Well, unusual things happen in baseball. A couple of times in the National League, a team has scored 1 run in every inning. It happened back in 1964. The St. Louis Cardinals were the team. scoring a picket fence 9 one-run innings. And one of the members of that team, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph, thanks a lot. Boy, you had to dig for that one. Nice going.
It's hard to find.
Yeah. I can remember this ballpark when it had a high picket fence. As a matter of fact, the concrete wall with the padding was not constructed until about 5 years ago. Stands renovated. This used to be Al Lang Field. Now it's Al Lang Stadium. Gary Carter, the batter, with the Red Sox up 1-0, bottom of the second inning.
What amount of capacity do you have to change it from a field to a stadium?
I don't know. It's still not a lot bigger than the field as far as the capacity here at Al Lang.
Al Lang, a former mayor in St. Petersburg, very instrumental in getting ball clubs to train in this area. Now deceased, as Casey Stengel would say. He's now dead at the present time.
2-0 to Carter as Nipper has missed with 2 breaking balls. Something else away, and the fastball misses. Saw Mark Sullivan touch his right leg, the inside of his right leg. That signals for a pitcher to throw the pitch away. 3-0 to Gary Carter. He may be hitting here with the wind blowing out.
In the regular season, I'm sure he would be.
And he is, and he pops it up. Shallow center field. Ellis Burke's in. And he makes the catch. 4 in a row retired by Al Nipper. And the batter will be Darryl Strawberry. Interesting thing may happen here, Mr. Kiner. Al Nipper, throughout the winter, has said that the next time he faces Darryl Strawberry, he's going to hit him. Because Strawberry hot-dogged the way around the bases after he homered against Nipper in the 7th game. Hot-dogged is in quotes, by the way. That's Nipper's quotes. Nipper's italics, I should say.
So Nipper might nip him, huh?
Yeah. Can't do it with a split-finger fastball, 1-0. So much for rumor mongering.
So much for all that idle talk that takes place when nothing's going on.
At banquets.
Look out, he got him. Oh, boy. You called it, Tim. Let's see what happens here. How about this for spring training? Strawberry evidently read that quote, and he's unhappy about it, and I don't blame him.
Now, you can't... I'll tell you, I've never heard of a fine levied in spring training, but because of the comments of Al Nipper during the winter, and he just made good hitting Darryl Strawberry in the small of the back with a fastball. Interesting that he threw the split-finger fastball first.
Well, he's sort of trying to take the blame off himself by doing that.
Maybe.
Now he can legitimately say, well, I wasn't throwing at him, it just got away. But he made that statement, and it's on the record. Here it is right here, fastball. You can't get out of the way of any pitch thrown there. You can get out of the way of the ball when it's at your head. That is a deliberate bore right there. Reminds me of the first time that Tommy Agee joined the Mets and hit against Bob Gibson. And on the very first pitch of spring training, Gibson hit Tommy Agee in the head. That was in 1968.
Now the umpire, Dave Pallone, the crew chief today, is alerting both dugouts. John McNamara, the Boston Red Sox manager, and Bud Harrelson subbing for Davey Johnson, that the next time somebody throws at somebody, they're out of the ball game.
And all this in spring training.
Al Nipper once again, he said when Darryl Strawberry hit the home run in the 7th game, bottom of the 8th inning, he didn't like the way he went around the bases. And for that reason, the next time he faced Strawberry, he was going to hit him. He said it all winter, and he just made good on that promise. The slider to Kevin McReynolds is a strike on the corner.
You'd have to say he's a man of his word.
I would have to say from that particular pitch that you're right.
Interestingly, Gary Carter hit a home run off of Nipper to put him on the losing side of a ball game, and there was nothing done there.
Maybe like the way Gary Carter went around the bases. I mean, I guess you got to go around the bases a certain way to appease all the pitchers.
I don't understand that.
Strawberry running, the throw kicked out of the glove of shortstop Spike Owen. The throw was there in time. Strawberry with a stolen base.
Perfect throw. It couldn't have been any better. But the ball arrived as Strawberry's foot arrived, and it was kicked out of the glove. Strawberry with 28 stolen bases last year. Let's look at it again. It's a perfect throw and not an easy pitch to handle. It's just there perfectly, and it was kicked out of Owen's glove. There's the other angle on it. Straight inside by Strawberry. And the ball not held. Stolen base credited for Darrell.
Check swing foul back, 1-2 to Kevin McReynolds. Kevin 2 for 12 on the spring. Both of those hits, extra base hits, 1 double, 1 triple. Kevin, of course, acquired, as you look at Strawberry at second, 1 away. McReynolds acquired, along with Gene Walter, for Kevin Mitchell, Sean Abner, several other Mets. There goes Strawberry. This ball lifted right side. Baylor over, but the ball's back in the stands. Strawberry running again. Talk about something carrying over during the wintertime. Wonder how many restless nights Nipper spent thinking about the time he was going to face Darrell Strawberry without any assurity that he'd ever face the Mets. Here it is, he plunks him. Pop fly left side. Hoffman giving chase, and he makes a fine catch. Strawberry holding, 2 out. Johnson, the batter, with first base open during the season. You may see Johnson walk with the right-hander pitching to Santana. But we're in spring training, so Red Sox knowing full well that Johnson is a good fastball hitter. And he's been a good hitter this spring. Howard batting .400, 6 for 15 on the spring. 1-0 Red Sox, 2 out. We're in the second inning. Like a screwball that was low, 1-0. Johnson has started a couple of games at shortstop. Davey Johnson giving him more experience at shortstop. He did play about 18 games at shortstop last year.
He was playing shortstop when he broke his wrist, running into Len Dykstra. And Davey Johnson, the manager of the Mets, has said he might use him at shortstop to use his bat, the more offensive type position, with Johnson there.
Probably against right-handed pitching, that would allow Dave Magadan, the young third baseman, to play third.
Magadan had a good day playing in his hometown 2 days ago at Tampa with a home run his first time up in now Lopez Stadium. Drove in the winning run of that ball game, too.
He also doubled in that game. 2-1 to Howard Johnson, 1-0 Red Sox. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Darrell Strawberry at second. The fastball high, 3-1. Howard has dropped his mustache down somewhat this spring.
Says it helps him with his hitting.
Rafael Santana on deck.
He couldn't play for the Cincinnati Reds.
But he could for the Oakland A's in 72, 3, and 4. The Mustache Gang. The Reds prohibiting facial hair of any kind. Not of any kind. I guess you could grow your regular beard. This ball hit well to right field. Way back is Evans. In the middle of the warning track, he makes the catch. Well, some excitement here on our first game on WOR. Darryl Strawberry plunked by a pitch from Al Nipper. He's left. The Mets failed to score. It's 1-0 after 2, and we'll be back after this word from Chrysler.
There's a fire-breathing creature Chrysler's imported from Japan. Conquest TSI. The intercooled turbo coupe built by Mitsubishi. So hot it'll smoke the 300ZX and RX-7. Conquest TSI. At 3.7%. Disappearing fast at Chrysler dealers.
What a find. Tape measure, $39.99. Explore A&S Spring Sale. These tape measure skirts, tops, pants, $39.99. Plus more fashion finds store-wide this minute. A&S Spring Sale. Terrific. Wish you were here. Want to find an Evan Bacone suit for 25% less? Explore A&S Spring Sale. All Evan Bacone suits, blazers, 25% off. Plus more fashion finds store-wide this minute. A&S Spring Sale. Terrific. Wish you were here.
Howdy. Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
Ask for Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Hi. Oh. Buy your friend a beer.
We're Manufacturers Hanover, changing and growing to meet your needs. In Denver, a homeowner buys a lawnmower with the help of our MasterCard. In St. Louis, our investment banking group paves the way for a series of interest rate swaps. In Portland, our CIT Capital Financing Company funds a corporate jet. We're Manufacturers Hanover, and now you know why we're called the financial source worldwide.
The New York Hilton is helping to give away $1 million a day in instant travel gifts. All we have to work out is how to wrap them.
The 22-year-old Ellis Burks is leading it off here in the top of the third. The Red Sox on top, 1-0. Fastball for a strike, 0-1. Burks fly deep to left center on a fine running catch by Kevin McReynolds in the first inning. Changeup caught the corner as Burks had an idea about bunting. He can run. Very unusual to see anybody in a Red Sox uniform that is a base-stealing threat.
Of course, that ballpark is certainly a hitter's type ballpark with a short fence in left field, the Green Monster. They've had some great hitters there, namely Ted Williams.
Fastball high, 1-2.
Wade Boggs led the American League in hitting last year at .357.
Carl Yastrzemski for years. Carl Yastrzemski, as a matter of fact, the last Triple Crown winner in baseball. He did it in '67, and the curveball catches the inside corner. Strikeout number 4 by Sid Fernandez, who looks sharp today.
And Sid's last 4 outs have been on strikeouts, and this is a good breaking pitch right there. Sid one time last year struck out his first 9 outs and was behind in the ball game 2-0.
Batter Spike Owen. Matter of fact, that was the game where Sid struck out and tied his career high in strikeouts, 13 in only 5 1/3 innings.
Sid ended up with 200 strikeouts to tie Dwight Gooden for the club lead in strikeouts.
That was 4th in the National League. Fastball high, 2-0 to Spike Owen. The leader in strikeouts, of course, Mike Scott, the Cy Young Award winner, 305 strikeouts. And it's 2-1.
Scott, the Cy Young Award winner in the National League, and Roger Clemens, the Cy Young Award winner and MVP in the American League. And Clemens, as we started out the program, not signed with the Red Sox so far this year.
Swing and a miss, 2-2 to Spike Owen.
We could get into an all-day discussion about whether or not a pitcher should be the MVP. I happen to think he shouldn't be.
And I happen to think he should be.
That ought to be good for an hour and a half.
Or all day, as you said. But we don't have all day. Fly ball right side, shallow right. Strawberry and Dykstra in, and it's Dykstra that holds off Strawberry. So 2 out here in the 3rd inning, 1-0 Red Sox, and the batter Marty Barrett. Barrett flied to right his first time up. Doubtful that Fernandez will retaliate on Nipper hitting Strawberry, both benches clearing. Order restored by home plate umpire Dave Pallone. That happened in the 2nd inning.
And that rule is a rule where the umpires warn both managers. If there's another throwing incident, both managers are ejected from the ball game. There's an automatic fine, and the pitcher would be ejected from the ball game. So you really can't retaliate in this spot. But of course, there is another day.
Tuck it away. That is correct.
Goes into that memory bank.
Certainly went into Al Nipper's memory bank.
Somebody will pay. There's no doubt about it. And the Mets have an exhibition game in the regular season with the Red Sox.
I think that's May 4th, I believe. They play the Red Sox at Shea Stadium. That is May 4th. And I believe we're carrying that game right here on WOR.
I don't think it's been scheduled yet, but might see some action then. Somebody will pay.
Oh, Bill Webb, being the workaholic that he is, I'm sure he will encourage WOR to carry that ball game. Barrett fouls it away. Still 1-2 to Marty.
Mets played their first during the season exhibition with the Red Sox last year and won that ball game. Sellout crowd in Fenway Park.
The last out of the 1986 World Series. Jesse Orozco struck him out on a fastball away, and the Mets won their 2nd World Series championship. A meek pop-up to the right side. Hernandez in fair territory makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down for Fernandez and the Mets here in the 3rd inning. But it's 1-0 Boston as we go to the middle of the 3rd. We'll be back after this word from the Bay Ridge Auto Company.
At Bay Ridge, my family make buying cars simple, right? Choose your car. We got thousands, backed by quality service. No matter which Bay Ridge, Dodge, Hyundai, Lincoln Mercury, Mitsubishi, Subaru, and Toyota, you get the lowest price. We guarantee it.
And we deliver.
On April 7th, the battle for the pennant begins at Shea Stadium. And we're ready. We've got the big guns. We've got the heavy artillery. We've got the rockets. And we've got the best manpower support in the game. You helped us get this. Now come out and help us keep it. Let's do it again. 1986 champs. Baseball like it ought to be.
Fans, if you want to see the 1987 Mets at Shea this season, take some good advice and buy your tickets in advance. This season promises to be the best ever, so make your plans now in order to get the best seats available. Tickets for all Mets home games are on sale at all Ticketron outlets. Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window by mail or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. So come on out to Shea this season and catch all the action and all the excitement of your world champion Mets playing baseball like it ought to be. Get your tickets now.
Rafael Santana leads it off here in the bottom of the third inning with the Red Sox on top, 1-0. Fireworks in the bottom of the second inning as Al Nipper, true to his word, plunked Darryl Strawberry. He said he didn't like the way Strawberry ran around the bases after hitting the home run in the 8th inning of Game 7 last year. Fastball outside, 1-0 to Rafael Santana, who batted .218 last year. Strike on the corner. Strike, 1-2. Ralph, we were talking between innings. How about the Dave Henderson home run in the 10th inning of Game 6? Now, obviously, he didn't run around the bases in a uniform fashion. No pun intended. He ran around in his uniform, but not in a uniform fashion.
He hot-dogged it, if you want to call it that. There's no doubt about it. And the enthusiasm of a big home run, certainly understandable. When you hit a home run, you do enjoy it, and especially a World Series home run like that.
Chopper Owen makes a nice play, one away.
And if you recall, Strawberry was really ridden by the Boston Red Sox fans.
That's right.
In Fenway Park in the previous games that were played, the middle games that were played at Fenway.
Especially Game 5 when the chant was Darryl, Darryl. John Gibbons is going to be the pinch hitter in a strong outing by Sid Fernandez. Fernandez going 3 innings, giving up 1 run and 2 hits, striking out 4 and walking 1. John 2 for 6 on the spring. Chance to land that 3rd catching position if the Mets carry 3 catchers, as they are inclined to do, 0-1.
What would you call, that looks like Rick Anderson throwing down there, what would you call Orozco's performance after striking out Barrett? I mean, that's hot-dogging it. That was the final out of the World Series. You think Orozco's in jeopardy?
But through enthusiasm.
I mean, he did everything.
That's the whole thing. And things are changing in baseball. I know 20 years ago, if you ran around after hitting a home run and you ran around in some hot dog fashion, then guys would plunk you. But things have changed. Split finger fastball. It's 1-2 on John Gibbons.
Ted Williams,
2 strikes.
Ted Williams wouldn't even tip his hat when he hit a home run to the Boston
look up.
crowd.
That's right.
That's right.
So he was the antithesis of a hot dog, huh? Another chopper. And Nipper throws out Gibbons. 2 out here in the 3rd. You know, the high-fiving that's happening is kind of an indication of how the game's changed. And I think the Mets have been accused of high-fiving, of being antagonists to those in the National League, but yet other clubs do it too.
And the standing ovation.
Sure, the standing other clubs have standing ovations. Maybe not to the frequency that the Mets have it, but the Mets have more reason to have standing O's. They won 108 ball games last year during the regular season.
And if anybody ever hot-dogged a home run, it was Dave Parker, now playing for the Cincinnati Reds.
That's right.
Of course, he's big enough that he might be able to get away with it. Although Strawberry's no midget.
That's right. 1-1 to Len Dykstra.
Strawberry's no Eddie Gazelle. Goodell, I guess it was, wasn't it? The midget that played.
He can be a gazelle at times.
Yeah.
Finger fastball, 2-1 to Dykstra. You remember the '75 World Series when Carlton Fisk for the Red Sox in Game 6 in the 11th inning hit the home run.
Stood there at home plate,
pushing it fair and everything. Was that hot dogging it? Certainly not. Fastball high, 3-1. Reggie Jackson, famous for hitting home runs, 540 plus, used to fold his arms after hitting a home run. Look at it, watch it, become a spectator, a work of art. 3-2 to Dykstra. Lenny batting only 143. He's 2 for 14 coming into this game. He flied deep to center his first time up. Here's Darryl Strawberry, who does not appear to be forgiving or forgetting. Still 3-2.
I don't think you'd invite those two to a party, would you?
No, I don't. The Boston Red Sox won, the New York Mets nothing. Bottom of the third inning, 2 out, nobody on. Hit sharply toward first, through the legs of Baylor, and it's going to be an error.
Well, Bill Buckner not playing first base in the day's game. Bill is having some difficulty after an operation on his knee. Of course, you remember the play on Mookie Wilson when Buckner allowed the winning run to score in that 6th game that the Mets brought back from no chance at all, 2 chances, slim and none. And this one getting away right here as Don Baylor plays first.
Wally Backman lined to short his first time up. To refresh your memory, in that game 6, bottom of the 10th inning, the Red Sox scored twice in the top of the 10th at Chase Stadium. And with 2 out and nobody on, 3 straight singles, and the wow pitch, just as infamous, if you're a Red Sox fan. Nipper had stepped off, so no balk call. And then the trickle-down economy, the 38 hopper that went through the legs of Bill Buckner, scoring Ray Knight, who jumped on home plate so bad that he hurt the lower part of his back.
And the batter who hit that ground ball was Mookie Wilson. Mookie was at the plate when the wild pitch allowed the tying run to score, putting Knight at second. And then Mookie fouled off 2 more and finally hit that ground ball to first and went for an error. Knight scoring from second base.
Bob Stanley was the right-handed pitcher in relief of Calvin Schiraldi in that game.
Carter led off with a single with 2 men out. And Kevin Mitchell has a pinch hitter single, and then Knight single. What an inning. Greatest inning in Met history.
Maybe in World Series history. Jams him with the slider. Barrett an easy play, and he gets Backman. No runs, no hits, 1 error and 1 left. After 3, it's 1-0 Red Sox. We'll be back after this word from American Express.
The American Express card contains a single word that makes every other card seem like just a piece of plastic. Member.
I seem to have lost my wallet.
To us, Stephen Gardner is a member.
Mr. Gardner, I can have a new card for you by tomorrow.
And at American Express, our card members are entitled to a world of privileges.
We lost our card, our cash.
Even our passport. You've come to the right place. I can help you.
That's great. That was an easy sale.
No need to wrap it. I think I can fix it, honey.
That's why I got buyer's assurance. Hello, American Express.
I left my prescription medicine at home.
Don't worry. Global Assist can help.
Bangkok today. Yeah, I'm packed.
Members carry our promise of respect, recognition, unsurpassed personal service. Membership has its privileges.
Excuse me.
Sorry, looks just like mine.
Well, here's my Cougar XR7.
Great cars, aren't they?
I love mine. Don't tell me. Your Cougar?
I always wanted one. Peppy, aren't they?
Sure, V8 engine.
Yeah, of course.
And I love the way it handles.
Yeah, love it.
Well, nice talking to you.
Excuse me? Oh, sorry. Great car.
Gotta get one.
New Mercury Cougar, only at your Lincoln Mercury Mercour dealer.
Gotta get one.
Carol Burnett gets gonged Monday night at 11.
Well, Charlie Corbell, a new pitcher for the Mets. A school teacher in the off-season, pitched at Shreveport in Double-A ball. That's a Texas league. Was 11-6 with a 2.95 ERA. Was in 29 ball games, 28 as a starter. Had 8 complete games, and 4 of them were shutouts. So with Charlie Corbell coming in to take over the pitching duties, coming in for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks a lot, Ralph, and hi again, everybody. John McNamara looking on, as well as a few fans catching a few rays. And for those of you in New York who suffered through a snowstorm yesterday, it's in the low to mid 70s today, and just a little bit of a breeze blowing. As Jim Rice leads it off in the 4th for Boston, the Red Sox lead it 1-0, and Rice hits the first pitch to Santana, very quickly one away. This game being brought to you in part by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Ford dealers.
Sid Fernandez working the first 3 innings for the Mets, gave up 1 run, allowed 2 hits. They came as back-to-back base hits in the second, struck out 4 and walked 1 in a fine outing.
And one of the ones he struck out is Don Baylor, who takes a strike from Charlie Corbell. Corbell originally signed in 1983 with San Francisco. Lives in Baytown, Texas, not too far from Houston. 1-1.
He was picked up by the Mets in the winter draft out of the minor leagues.
And a line shot for a base hit into right center field. Dykstra over to cut it off. Baylor going on to second, and the throw will not be in time. So it's a 1-out double for Don Baylor. Only the 3rd hit for Boston as the Red Sox lead it 1-0. The Mets without a base hit.
Oh, Baylor going with a breaking ball that's outside and driving the ball in the right center. That's something you probably don't want to see from a fellow like Don Baylor, who had 31 home runs last year, hitting to the opposite field. But at the same time, it is a base hit and a 2-base hit.
And Dwight Evans fouls the first pitch back for strike 1. Evans also struck out looking his first time up against Sid Fernandez. Pounded foul off the plate. So it's 0-2. Baylor, of course, would not be playing first base if the Red Sox were playing in an American League park, because he is the designated hitter ordinarily. But this guy, you don't want him DHing. Dwight Evans, throughout his career, has been one of the most outstanding defensive outfielders in the game. Two-strike pitch in the dirt, and it gets away from Carter, so Baylor advances to 3rd with 1 out.
This looks like a split-finger fastball. Ball dropping out way in front of the plate, and Carter unable to block it in front of him, and it'll be scored as a wild pitch.
So to count 1 ball, 2 strikes with Baylor at 3rd and 1 out.
Mets bring their infield in for a play at the plate.
Off-speed pitch hit foul. Hernandez making the play. So Baylor back to 3rd, and the count 2-2.
You know, Baylor's 38 years of age. Buckner, not playing in today's ball game, is 37. Evans is 35. And Rice is 34. So the Red Sox have some age on their ball club. And that's not necessarily like wine.
I'll tell you one thing about Baylor and Evans, at least. Both of those guys have kept themselves in outstanding physical condition. Jim Rice is no slouch either in that department. Buckner, of course, has had health problems. In fact, Buckner going to the high tops when he got to spring training this year, and he did have that knee operation in addition to his ankle problems. Because of the high tops, the guys in the Red Sox clubhouse put a sign over his locker that said number 19, Johnny Unitas.
You don't get away with anything, do you?
But they are reminiscent of the shoes Unitas used to wear when he played quarterback for the Baltimore Colts. Ball players will always think of something. Base hit by Santana, who was drawn in at short, and the Red Sox lead 2-0 as Evans drives home Baylor with the second run here in the top of the fourth inning.
Well, they say with the infield in that you can make a 200 hitter into a 300 hitter, or a racehorse out of a mule, and right here, a base hit because the infield was in. Hoping to cut off the runner coming in from third, and Baylor scores for a 2-0 lead.
And another base hit, a high chopper over Howard Johnson's head at third by Glenn Hoffman. And Hoffman, who singled to center his first time up, is 2 for 2 as Evans moved down to second base. Still only one out and runners at first and second for Boston.
That'll bring up Mark Sullivan, who drove in the first run of the ball game in the second with a single to right.
Sullivan's had a good spring. He's 5 for 13 so far, with a homer and 3 RBIs. And Charlie Corbell, making his third outing of the spring, has now been tagged for 3 successive base hits. Down low for ball 1. Charlie, of course, does not figure in the Mets' pitching plans. He is hoping to advance to Tidewater. Off speed, grounding in the hole for a base hit to left. Evans is being sent home, but he is stopped as the throw by McReynolds is offline, but McReynolds charging the ball well and getting to it in a hurry caused the third base coach, Joe Morgan, to hold Evans up at third. So fourth successive base hit loads the bases.
And a split finger fastball hit right through the hole. The thrower was up the line, but the commitment to hold the runner had been made, so no chance at all for Evans to continue on to score.
And a good play by McReynolds to prevent Evans from scoring. And even though his throw wasn't great, the fact that he was on the ball quickly, and Joe Morgan, the third base coach, seeing that, caused him to hold the runner. And a pinch hitter for the Boston Red Sox, who fists one foul. Not a pinch hitter. Nipper's hitting for himself. Nipper has pitched an outstanding game so far, and ordinarily after 3 innings you would expect him to be out of there, but he is batting for himself. He struck out hitting in the second inning.
He's also up there safely as they can't throw at him. He threw at Strawberry early in the ballgame and hit him.
And he pounds a high bouncer off the plate. Corbell of the force play at home to Carter, and they get Evans coming from third for the second out of the inning. The bases remain loaded, however, on the fielder's choice by Nipper.
Little chopper out here, no place other than home to go, and they pick up the out there in the force play.
So the top of the order, and Ellis Burks will be the batter with the bases still loaded and 2 away. Burks in the ball game 0 for 2 has fly deep to left center and struck out looking. And he is getting a hard look from Boston this spring because Dave Henderson, the resident center fielder, underwent knee surgery on January 27th and is not fully recovered, and that has opened the door for Burks, who had an outstanding year in the minor leagues last year, and as Tim and Ralph were mentioning, could give the Red Sox some much-needed speed at the top of the order. He's hitting, coming into the game, .318 this spring with a home run and 6 RBIs. He's also stolen a couple of bases. And he's 0-2 right now against Charlie Corbell, and 0-4-2 on the day. High and tight for ball 1. Hoffman at third, Mark Sullivan at second, and Al Nipper at first. 2 out. Red Sox lead 3-0 in the top of the fourth inning. 2-2 now. I said 3-0. The Red Sox lead 2-0. Fisted, and Hernandez can't make the pickup, but he knocks the ball away from Backman. 1 run scores, and another comes home as Backman throws to Carter. Sullivan scoring all the way from second behind Hoffman, who scores from third. And the Red Sox now lead it 4-0.
This ball fisted off the trademark out toward the second base side, and Keith Hernandez, the gold glove first baseman, can't handle it. And that puts the Red Sox up by 4 runs as a second man comes in. Sullivan scoring from second on the air. Both of those runs scoring will be unearned on the air by Keith Hernandez. Not an easy chance, incidentally.
Nope, and they haven't posted it as an error, as Spike Owen takes strike 1 from Charlie Corbell. They haven't posted it as a hit or an error as yet. But it's 4-0. Boston still 2 out and runners at first and second. Owen, 0 for 2, is grounded out and flied out. And a strike with a fastball on the inside corner, and it's 0-2.
The scoreboard has posted it as a base hit. But that doesn't mean anything.
A blooper to Santana at short, and the inning is finally over. But the Red Sox add 3 runs on 4 hits here in the fourth inning. And after 3.5, they lead the Mets 4-0. We're back to St. Pete after this for your Ford dealer.
Ford announces a new 6-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty on all new 1987 Ford cars. And you can now get 3.9% financing plus up to $600 cash back on Tempo, Escort, and Mustang. Combined with option package discounts, you can save up to $1,558 on Ford Tempo, $1,335 on Ford Mustang, and $1,294 on Ford Escort. Ford value, better than ever.
This Bud's for all that you do.
It could be any time now. I'll call you back.
A friend is counting on you.
No, Bill had to leave. Can I help you? We need copies by 4:30.
I'll cover it for him.
Hey, Chester, is this Bill's first?
Well, not a word.
You see a new beginning. Now is your finest inning. Your friends make it better by pulling together. You share the pride of winning. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers.
Here he comes.
This Bud's for you.
Steve Zabriskie along with Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver bringing you Mets preseason baseball here on WOR this afternoon. Our first of 7 telecasts from St. Pete. And the official scores finally made up their mind and have given Ellis Burks a base hit on that little dribbler that Hernandez could not handle. So he's also credited with 2 RBIs as the ball bounced away from Backman and had to be run down in short right center field.
Hit it about 100 feet and gets 2 RBIs along with a base hit.
They don't ask how, right?
They don't draw pictures.
They only want to know if. And a guy who has provided a lot of ifs for the Mets, Keith Hernandez, leads it off. Hernandez struck out looking to end or rather swinging to end the first inning against Al Nipper, who is still on the mound for the Red Sox and has not given up a hit. The only 2 base runners allowed have been Strawberry, who was hit by Nipper, and Dykstra, who reached on an error in the 3rd inning. Hernandez holds up, but the appeal to Dick Stello, and it is called a strike. So it's 0-1. 4-0, Boston leading. Bottom of the fourth as Hernandez fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Keith entered the game hitting .364 this spring, 4 for 11. He's now 4 for 12 with no homers and 1 RBI. And he slices one into left field. A little serve job for a base hit to lead off the fourth inning. The first hit of the ball game off Al Nipper.
Well, Keith Hernandez with one of his patented hits. It's an inside pitch in the left field. Keith, a .300 batter lifetime and former National League batting champion, gets the first hit for the Mets with no one out here in the bottom half of the fourth inning.
And here's Gary Carter, who has flied out to shallow center field in his only at bat today. 3 for 12 so far in spring training. One sharply to short that could be 2. Owen to Barrett. And over to first for the completion of the double play. And very quickly 2 out here in the fourth inning.
Well, here's Darryl Strawberry batting for the second time in this ball game. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. And before that pitch was made, it was stated by Al Nipper that he was going to hit Strawberry the very first time he faced him after his home run off of Nipper in the 7th game of the World Series.
And Strawberry takes a ball low. Grounded right back through the middle. Something you might expect after being hit. Darryl trying to go right back up the middle and did hit it sharply past Nipper for a base hit with 2 out. Darryl's at first for Kevin McReynolds.
They used to drag bunt when you've been hit by a pitcher or thrown at by a pitcher, get the pitcher to cover first base and then run right up his back. But right here it looked like Strawberry's trying to hit it back to the middle. He did do a good job of that, but it went on by Nipper, and Al escapes.
Point was made, however. McReynolds with a check swing foul for strike 1. Kevin popped out in foul territory to third baseman Glenn Hoffman back in the 2nd inning. And has not gotten off to a real quick start in spring training offensively. He is 2 for 13 at the plate so far with no RBIs. Two out, Strawberry at first, and a new first baseman, Pat Dodson, replacing Don Baylor at first for Boston. Darryl draws a throw. Strawberry picked up his first stolen base of the spring back in the 2nd. McReynolds with a high fly ball into left center field. Ellis Burks back to haul it in, and the inning is over. So the Mets fail to score on 2 hits. They lead 1. After 4, Boston 4, New York nothing. Now here's a word from the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages.
We were answering an emergency call for New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages.
They're crawling out of the woodwork.
Termites, sir.
Yellow Pages like these.
Frank?
This guy says his covers a much bigger area.
Sure.
So I say, why isn't it a much bigger book?
Than the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. The book your customers buy from. The book that built your business.
So, what do I do with these?
You're the exterminator. Think about it. Don't be fooled. Advertise in the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. We wrote the book.
Have you heard the one about the chicken and the egg at McDonald's? Now, the chicken, as in McNuggets, and the egg, as in breakfast sandwiches, are both just 99 cents. So you'll save in the morning on our fresh-baked biscuit and McMuffin with egg sandwiches for only 99 cents, and you'll keep saving all afternoon and evening on our golden brown 6-piece chicken McNuggets for just 99 cents. Get cracking, because these chicken and egg savings will only last through March 26th. So come to McDonald's today and get good food that tastes great at one great price.
Test drive the new Honda Formula One inspired Acura, the $10,000 car that thinks it's a Porsche. Road and Track magazine tended to agree. In fact, they said it feels like a race car. Call your Acura dealer at 1-800-253-2600 to test drive the Integra. You'll find you can still get a thrill for $10,000.
Jonathan and Jennifer are targets for murder, Monday at 5.
Marty Barrett leads it off against Charlie Corbell as we go to the top half of the 5th inning with Boston leading 4-0. And Barrett takes ball 1. Barrett 0 for 2 is fly to right and popped out to first. Ball 2 outside. Jim Rice on deck. And Pat Dodson would be expected to be the 3rd hitter as he replaced Don Baylor at first base. Fastball right in there, strike 1, 2-1. 3-1 now. The Red Sox sent 8 men to the plate in the 4th inning against Corbell. The score, 3 runs on 5 hits and take a 4-0 lead. Foul off Carter in the count 3-2. The regulars for New York are expected to play long enough to each get 3 at-bats this afternoon before interim manager Bud Harrelson starts making some changes. Slice to right, and it'll drop in front of Strawberry for a base hit as Barrett leads off the 5th inning. And congratulations are in order to the New York Mets equipment manager and clubhouse man Charlie Samuels. Charlie has finally decided to take the plunge, and he has announced his engagement to Charlene Sorrentino. They are engaged to be married on November 7th, which should be well after the end of the season. So congratulations and best wishes to the lovebirds. Rice takes inside, ball 1.
Last year, the season ended on October 27th when the Mets won the 7th game of the World Series. So he's protected.
And a strike on the outside corner.
She's protected.
Well, I've seen Charlene, and believe me, Charlie's getting the best of that deal. And a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. Nobody out, and Barrett the runner at first here in the 5th. Charlie Corbell working his 2nd inning after Sid Fernandez pitched a strong first 3. And a full count to Jim Rice. Fouled away. Still 3-2.
Well, Barrett running with that pitch and with Jim Rice up. You wouldn't expect that to happen in spring training, especially in spring training. Got a power hitter at the plate. But spring training has changed considerably. They play the game a little more seriously nowadays.
And on top of all of that, the Red Sox are not much of a running ball club, even with a hit-and-run play. And Barrett running again, but it's ball 4. So a base hit and a walk puts runners at first and second with nobody out for Pat Dodson. Not to be confused with Pat Dobson, D-O-B. Dodson, D-O-D, as in dog, S-O-N. Who, in a brief trial with Boston at the end of last season, hit .417 for the Red Sox after hitting .269 at Pawtucket with 27 home runs and 102 RBIs in AAA. He takes the ball high and away. Hernandez allowed a run on 2 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 1 through his first 3 innings of work. Charlie Corbell has been struggling, however, as in 1 inning plus, he has given up 3 runs on 6 hits, has walked 1, not struck out a batter, and he's now 3-0 to Dodson. Center field. Dykstra will not catch up with it. And it's Mookie Wilson in center who gets the ball back in as both runners score. And Boston takes a 6-0 lead here in the 5th inning. On a 3-1 pitch, Pat Dodson drives in 2.
This ball very well hit. 3-1 fastball right down the middle. Dodson drives it into left center where the ball is played back in. And no chance for a play at the plate and 2-run score. Barrett and Rice coming around. And it's now 6-0 Boston.
And the batter Dwight Evans, who holds up and takes the ball low, 1-0. Evans 1 for 2 with an RBI single in the 4th after striking out looking in the 2nd inning. 1-1. Boston now with 9 base hits in the game. The Mets have managed only 2 off Al Nipper. Two and 1 to Dewey. Off the hands to Corbell, but Dodson not far enough off second base for the double play. 1 out here in the 5th inning.
Corbell gets this ball in tight off the fists of Dewey Evans, and it's a routine play for the pitcher. And he gets his first out of the inning.
And the batter Glenn Hoffman, who is 2 for 2, and Hoffman takes a strike. Hoffman has singled to center and singled to left and scored a run. Speed pitch grounded to third off Howard Johnson's glove, and he pulls Hernandez off the bag with the throw. So an error will be charged to Johnson as Dodson remained at second base for Boston, and the Red Sox now have runners at first and second with 1 out.
Well, Howard had time to make a good throw here, but he over-hustles, throws too soon while he's off balance and makes a bad throw to first. Hernandez has to leave the bag to make the catch, and Howard Johnson is charged with an error. Runners now at first and second and 1 out. Mark Sullivan, the batter, and he's had a good day.
Sullivan also 2 for 2 with an RBI single to right in the 2nd and a single and a run scored in the 4th as he grounds it foul for strike 1. Sullivan had put up some pretty good numbers in the minor leagues last year with Rich Gedman out of camp. In line for the #1 catching job with the Red Sox. Sam Horn has come out on deck as a pinch hitter with Nipper scheduled up next. Well hit into the gap in left center. McReynolds over, can't get to it as it's over his head and all the way to the wall. Dodson will score from second. Hoffman will score from first. No, he's tagged out at home plate as Hoffman did not slide, and Carter was able to get the tag on him, decoying him a little bit. So Hoffman called out at home for the 2nd out of the inning as 1-run scores.
Well, a good relay here by the Mets. McReynolds, the left fielder, can't catch up to the line drive, plays it off the fence, a throw into Santana. And Raphael short of the plate is in time. And the tag is made by Carter as Hoffman fails the slide, although I don't think it would have made any difference. It was a perfect relay by Santana. A double for Sullivan, his third in the ball game. He's now 3 for 3.
And Sullivan now has driven in 2 runs. So Sam Horn pinch hitting for Al Nepper. Here's the relay again from McReynolds to Santana to Carter.
Perfect throw by Santana. One bounce throw as it should be, and it's right there. Carter looking for the slide. Surprised by the fact that he didn't make that slide.
He was ready to tag him down low and had to come up a little bit. Sam Horn this spring does not have a base hit in 10 previous at-bats. And he takes the strike, and he's out of there. 1, 2, 3. Horn is gone. However, the Red Sox had 3 more runs here in the 5th inning and now lead 7-0 after 4 1/2. We're back to St. Pete after this for Budweiser.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise endures. The promise of genuine quality. Without compromise, without fail. Beechwood aged Budweiser and Bud Light. Genuine proof that somebody still and always will care about quality. And that is a promise.
Starting the day with the New York Times won't guarantee it'll be a better day, but it can help make a difference.
Thanks, Sport.
The Times can give you the options that soften the edges and make life a little more interesting and a little more enjoyable.
Read it and weep. 7-zip.
With ideas and information meaningful to you, the Times can sharpen your mind and stimulate your senses.
No pizza before dinner, Michael.
It helps you make more of each day, whether it starts your day or just becomes a part of it.
How much salt goes in here, Dad?
Teaspoon. Every day, you'll discover something to savor.
It's delicious. What's for dinner?
The New York Times. It adds life to your life.
Tina Turner's latest hot hit, Tuesday night at 7:30.
Defensive changes for the Red Sox. Todd Benzinger goes into left field for Jim Rice. Mike Greenwell in right field for Dwight Evans. And on the mound, Mike Roachford for Al Nipper, who pitched outstandingly. And as Roachford comes on, back into caller once again, Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Roachford pitching to Howard Johnson. Howard flied out to deep right his first time up. Roachford, the second pitcher used by John McNamara, the manager of the Red Sox. Al Nipper working the first 4 innings. Gave up no runs, allowed 2 hits, a single by Hernandez and a single by Darryl Strawberry. And the first pitch to Johnson is hit in the air to left field where Todd Benzinger puts it away.
Roachford last year at Pawtucket was 11-10 with a 3.53 ERA in 28 games.
And his next batter will be Rafael Santana. Santana grounded out his first time up. And the first pitch, a called strike.
Al Nipper pitched 4 outstanding innings. No runs, 2 hits, struck out 1, did not walk about.
Foul ball, strike 2. Santana hit .218 for the Mets last year with 1 home run, 28 RBIs. Mets brought a 4-game winning streak into this ball game, having lost their first 3. 2 to the Cardinals and 1 to Toronto, and then winning 4 straight. The fastball, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Red Sox have had a pretty good spring so far, 5-2 coming into this game. They have won all their home games in spring training, 4-0 at home.
Chopped out over the mound, good play on it by Owen, and the throw will pick up the out. So Rafael Santana back to the bench, 2 men away. And we're going to have a pinch hitter for the New York Mets. Kevin Elster pinch hitting for the pitcher, Charlie Corbell.
Elster has 1 hit and 7 at-bats so far this spring with no homers and 1 RBI, hitting 143.
And the fastball for ball 1. Rochford spinning that ball around. Not a good idea with that ball in sight to be doing anything different with it. Fly ball to right field, and the first chance for Mike Greenwell, and he puts it away. So Rochford works a 1-2-3 inning, and the score at the end of 5. The Red Sox 7, the New York Mets nothing. Now here's a word from the good olds guys.
This car is red hot. The way it looks, the way it feels, the way it makes you look, the way it makes you feel. You don't just drive it. This car is designed to wear. Cutlass Sierra from Oldsmobile. Take off the car you're wearing. Slip into something red hot. Cutlass Sierra. It's the #1 selling car around here.
From the good old skies.
There are some people who like the taste of Coke. And yes, there are some people who like the taste of Pepsi. But there will always be some people who go out of their way for the great taste of RC Cola.
New York Telephone presents the Don't Be Lonely call.
Yeah, living alone is great. Friends and parties all the time. Yeah, I keep real busy.
With New York Telephone's low regional calling area rates, feeling lonely's just not worth it.
So, Dad, how about coming over and watching the game with me? Yeah? That's great! Bring a pizza?
So call and stay connected.
We made it! Our first real deal! Now if we can just make our flight. You're hot, you're hot.
Agent, we got red hot cars, red hot cars. We got a red hot crew, we got a red hot crew. We got super value rates, we try harder too. Agent, we're red hot for you.
And how good a deal did we get on that car? When you're hot, you're hot.
Avis, red hot.
Well, it's a new pitcher in the mound for the New York Mets, Doug Sisk.
Dougie was 8-6 with 21 saves for New York last year, and he's 0-0 with a 1.80 so far this spring.
And he gets a swinging strike for strike 1. And this ball hit in the air to shallow center field. And the catch is made. So Ellis Burks flies out to center field for the first out. And that'll bring up Spike Owen. Spike 0 for 3. Burks 1 for 4 in today's ball game. Red Sox leading 7-0 as they have compiled 7 runs on a total of 10 base hits. Spike Owen 0 for 3. And Sisk with a fastball.
And Kevin Elster, who pinch hit for Charlie Corbell, has stayed in the game and plays shortstop in place of Rafael Santana. So I guess the pitcher will bat 8.
Two balls and no strikes. Spike Owen hitting 183 for Boston last year, 246 for Seattle. And the 3-0 pitch he calls strike.
You know, Ralph, we've already had a little show of emotion and tension carrying over from the World Series with Strawberry being hit by Nipper. And there was a lot of what John McNamara called backbiting on the Boston club after the World Series.
This ball chopped foul down the first base side, so the count stays at 3-1.
So about on March 1st, McNamara held a team meeting at which he said he wanted to get a few things off his chest and clear the air a little bit. I don't think it had anything directly to do with the New York Mets, but I think it had a lot to do with the finger pointing and excuses and all the negative things that were coming out of Boston after the Red Sox lost the World Series to New York. And Mac said it was a very productive meeting and that it cleared the air. He gave everybody an opportunity to say something, but no one really did after his talk. They felt like he said enough and said it all and sort of put things back in their proper perspective.
Well, the Red Sox last won a World Series back in 1918 when they beat the Cubs, and that World Series was played in Chicago in Comiskey Park, the White Sox Park. They were looking for bigger attendance and didn't get it. And then they lost a 7-game World Series in 1946 to the Cardinals. In 1967, they lost a 7-game series to the Cardinals. And 1975, they lost a 7-game series to the Cincinnati Reds. And again, it's Mookie Wilson in center field, and he puts it away. So Mookie has taken over the center field position for Len Dykstra, and that'll bring up Marty Barrett.
And of course, there had been a lot of talk even before the Red Sox even got into the World Series about them folding and not even winning the division championship, and a lot of negative media attention, and I think a lot of that added to the frustration that was vented after they lost the World Series in such a dramatic fashion.
1 ball, 1 strike as Marty Barrett bats for the 4th time. Marty 1 for 3 in this game, singled in the 5th. Later on scored. Fine hitting second baseman, fine second baseman. 3-1 the count. And ball 4, so Sisk walks his first man. Doug has appeared in 3 games so far prior to this one. So Keith Hernandez signals he will play off the bag at first, as we have a batter batting for the first time.
Todd Benzinger, who replaced Jim Rice in left field.
And this ball hit in the air to center field, and Mookie with another chance. And Mookie makes the catch, and he has retired the side, making all 3 putouts. 1 walk, 1 left to score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Red Sox 7, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Nissan.
4x4s came in lots of shapes and sizes this year, but only one was named Best 4x4 of the Year. Nissan Pathfinder, honored by both 4-wheel and off-road and 4-wheeler magazines.
Best of the year in on- and off-road performance. Best of the year for interior comfort and function.
Award-winning ride, toughness, and style found in Pathfinder and every 4x4 we make. The 4x4 of the Year is Pathfinder. The name is Nissan.
Dear, beloved Uncle Dwight. He certainly had a lot of friends.
The Pruitts drove all the way from Alaska.
What?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. I counted license plates from 18 different states.
Hey, Earl, what kind of motor oil do you use?
Motor oil is motor oil.
What?
Motor oil is motor oil.
Oh, yes, he is.
Motor oil definitely is not motor oil. 4-cylinder cars work harder and need specially formulated Valvoline 4-Guard. Don't drive your car to an early grave.
NBO has everything for the well-dressed man. At 30 to 60% off. Everything except shoes. Things that are fun. The $100,000 Pyramid. Weeknights at 7.
Well, we're we're going now to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Red Sox leading 7-0, and Mookie Wilson, the leadoff for the Mets. Mookie batting for the first time, replacing Len Dykstra in center field. Dykstra 0 for 2. And I believe I said bottom of the 5th. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. And the first pitch by Mike Roachford for ball 1.
Mookie's off to a good start this spring. 6 for 15, batting .400 so far.
And this ball pulled foul down the right side. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And more defensive changes for Boston. Danny Schaefer is behind the plate, replacing Mark Sullivan at catcher. Ed Romero at second base, replacing Marty Barrett. And I think it's Kevin Romine in center field in place of Ellis Burks.
And this one popped up on the second base side. Ed Romero with his first chance, and he makes the catch. So in the outfield, Todd Benzinger, Kevin Romine, and Mike Greenwell for the Red Sox. And at third base, Glenn Hoffman still in the ballgame. Spike Owen at short. Ed Romero now at second. Pat Dodson is at first base, and Danny Schaefer the catcher. Mike Roachford on the mound, and he's working to Wally Backman, batting for the right-hand side for the first time. Wally 0 for 2 from the left-hand side, and the first pitch, ball 1. Red Sox picking up a run in the second off Sid Fernandez. 5 runs in the 4th and 3 runs in the 5th off Charlie Corbell, and leading by a score of 7-0. 1-1, the count to Wally Backman. Wally hitting .320 last year. His finest year in the major leagues. And a hard ground ball off of the glove of Owen at short, and out in the left field where it's fielded by Todd Benzinger. So Backman is on. We'll see how it's scored.
Wally has improved a great deal from the right side, and here he pulls this ball with authority. And Spike Owen, trying to backhand the ball, tried to literally come up with it, but it went off the heel of his glove, and it has yet to be scored. But if I were the official scorer, I would score it a base hit.
Especially if you're a dentist. This infield, of course, not the smoothest. It is being scored a base hit, so Backman with his first hit. And Keith Hernandez, who had the first hit for the Mets back in the 4th inning, takes ball 1. Keith 1 for 2, struck out his first time up. Mets now with 3 hits in the game. For the Red Sox, leading by a score of 7-0, the first baseman playing behind the runner at first.
And we get word from Jay Horwitz, our public relations director, that Mookie Wilson came into the game a little earlier than anticipated for Len Dykstra, because Dykstra strained a rib cage muscle while throwing, and it is not believed, however, to be a serious injury.
Only hurts when he laughs.
That's true with rib cage injuries.
3-0 the count to Keith Hernandez. Now it's being corrected by the home plate umpire. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Coughing and sneezing are also very painful when you have...
And swinging the bat.
Well, that's impossible.
Right in there. 2-2. Make that strike 3. So Keith called out on strikes. His second strikeout.
Sweeping pitch from the left-hander, Roachford. And Hernandez knew it. He was just caught looking, and the look of resignation on his face as he walked back to the dugout told the story.
Keith, the lifetime .302 batter. And now it's Gary Carter. Gary 0 for 2 in the game. Fought out to center field and grounded into a double play. Ground ball up the middle and on through for a base hit for Gary Carter. Back from the second. Holding there, and the Mets now have runners at first and second as Darryl Strawberry comes up.
Carter hit this ball so hard down into the ground that it got overspin on it with that second hop that you ordinarily see more prevalently on artificial turf. But Carter hit it so hard that even on this natural surface, even though, as you mentioned, Ralph, this infield is not exactly one of the softest around, really picked up speed and got right by Owen for the base hit. Backman taking no chances with the Mets down 7-0. Held at second.
Strawberry 1 for 1, also hit by a pitch ball. And that's been the highlight of the ball game for the Mets. He was hit by Al Nipper his first time up. Nipper had said in a previous quote that he was going to hit Strawberry for the first time he faced him after his home run in the 7th game of the World Series off Nipper. Said he didn't like the way that Darrell ran around the bases, and he lived up to his word as he hit Strawberry right in the middle of the back. Almost had a fight, almost precipitated a fight.
Well, next time maybe Darrell has an opportunity in the exhibition game for youth baseball that the Mets play against the Red Sox this year. If Nipper pitches and Darrell hits a home run, maybe he could run around backwards.
As Jimmy Pearsall did when he hit his 100th home run for the New York Mets back in the early days of the Mets in the Polo Grounds. Pearsall ran around the bases in order, first, second, third, and home, backwards. Casey Stengel released him right after that. Said there was no room in this club for 2 clowns.
Casey being, of course, the first.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, that's saying you've had a tough day when the highlight of the game is being hit by a pitch. But that's about the way it's gone for New York.
Mets now with no runs on 4 hits, and Strawberry looks at the fastball. 2-2 the count. Darrell not happy with the call by home plate umpire Dave Pallone.
Darrell and Dave Pallone had a number of disagreements throughout the season last year. Darrell thought that pitch was low.
And this one is topped out to the first base side. It goes foul. Strawberry hit .259 last year with 27 home runs, 93 runs batted in. And he had 28 stolen bases. Only 2 Mets have ever joined the 20-20 club, 20 or more stolen bases and 20 or more home runs. Tommy Agee the first to do it, Darrell Strawberry the second. And the fastball. 3-2 to Darrell Strawberry, 2 men out. Red Sox leading 7-0. In the bottom half of the 6th inning, 2 men on base. Backman at second, Carter at first. And a hard smash into left field for a base hit. Backman will score, and the Mets are on the board. So Strawberry gets a measure of revenge as he drives in the first mid-run.
And a good job of hitting by Darrell with the 3-2 pitch. It was outside. He went the other way with it. Backman scoring easily. And even though Todd Benzinger bobbled the ball a little bit, Gary Carter, the runner, going to second with no chance to advance to third. But it's now 7-1 Boston. Darrell with 2 hits now in the afternoon and a pinch runner for Gary Carter. Greg Olson, number 62, coming into the game to run at second base for Carter. Olson is a catcher who was invited as a non-roster player to spring training. Played at both Jackson and Tidewater last year.
And the batter, Kevin McReynolds, with the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. McReynolds 0 for 2 in this game, has fouled out to third and flied out to center.
I think I need to correct that. I think that's Keith Miller, the runner at second, and not Greg Olson. It is Keith Miller.
And Keith Miller, one of the outstanding young ball players in the Mets organization, and keep your eye on him.
He hit .329 at Jackson last year. Had 23 stolen bases to go with 36 RBIs.
And Mike Roachford misses with a fastball in the count 3-1. Roachford came in the ball game in the 5th inning, worked a 1-2-3 inning in the 5th, but has been reached here for 1 run on 3 hits in the 6th. Reynolds A .288 hitter for San Diego last year, and that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded as the Mets try to get some back. Mets get their first walk of this ball game. It loads up the bases and brings up Howard Johnson. Howard flied out to deep right his first time up, and out to left field, flied out to left field his second, so he's 0 for 2. Full house here, a sellout as the Mets face the Red Sox for the first time since October 27th. And the fastball to strike.
All of the Mets spring training games, all reserve seats are sold out. In fact, the reserve seats for this game went on sale one day, and they were sold out in less than a day.
Well, the curveball called a strike by Dave Pallone. And Johnson now down with a count of 0-2.
And he didn't like either one of those calls. Both, he felt, were outside.
Mike Rochford on the mound in relief of Al Nipper, who worked 4 innings, gave up no runs on 2 hits. Fastball popped up out of play. So the count will stay at strike 2.
Boy, it is hard to get a fastball by Howard Johnson, even as a right-handed batter. As you look at the base runners, Johnson is so quick. That ball really was almost by him, and he was able to get around enough to get enough bat on the ball to foul it back on the roof.
Johnson came into this game with a .400 batting average and a 4 for 4 day against Toronto in Dunedin earlier this week. Now the count at 1-2. Howard Johnson from Clearwater, Florida, about 30 minutes from this ballpark. Clearwater, the home of the Philadelphia Phillies. 1-2, and now 2-2. Ball getting away momentarily from Davey Schaefer, the catcher. Make that Danny Schaefer, the catcher. Holding at third base is Miller. Behind him at second, Strawberry, and on at first is McReynolds. Two and two the count. And that one just does miss. And it's a full count to Howard Johnson. So with 2 men out, the bases loaded, the runners will be running with the pitch. That's trailing by a score of 7-1 as they bat here in the 6th inning. Runners go on the windup, and it's ball 4. And the Mets get another run. So the bases stay loaded. It's now 7-2, the Red Sox. And the batter coming up. Will not get up there as time is called with the pitching coach going out to the mound. Bill Fisher, the pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox.
And Doug Sisk, the scheduled hitter, will hit for himself. And he is the 8th New York Met to come to the plate here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Paid crowd here this afternoon, 6,623. Standing room only. And Sisk, not a bad hitting pitcher, takes the first pitch for ball 1. And a strike call, 1 ball, 1 strike. Base hit, no, cut off by the third baseman. Glenn Hoffman to throw to second for the force play, and that'll do it. But the Mets get 2 runs on 3 hits, and 2 men were left on base. The score at the end of 6. The Red Sox 7, the Mets 2. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Financial opportunity. For the swift and sure, the rewards have never been greater. We're Manufacturers Hanover. We keep your business on the cutting edge of financial opportunity. From cash management systems to financial engineering, we can tailor a strategy with vision to move your business toward its financial goals. Consider the source. Manufacturers Hanover. The financial source worldwide.
What is that? Merkur XR4TI, Germany. I'll try it.
What is that?
Merkur XR4TI. This car really blows me away. What is that? Merkur XR4TI. Incredible handling.
A unique turbocharged sports coupe imported from Germany by Lincoln Mercury.
What is that?
Merkur XR4TI. Test drive one now at your Lincoln Mercury Merkur dealer.
This is an experience. Whew.
Dad,
Mm-hmm.
why is grass green?
Because of chlorophyll, honey.
Dad,
Yep.
is the moon really made of cheese?
Oh, son, the moon is made from molecules.
Dad, the 9X Yellow Pages has always had more information than any competing directory. Why would anyone need another? Dad?
The 9X Yellow Pages. It's the one you've always had. It's the only one you need.
Magnum's Too Late to Save a Glamorous Movie Star, Monday night at 6.
Well, the Mets now trailing 7-2 as we go to the 7th, and they make some defensive changes. Greg Olson comes into the game behind the plate for Gary Carter. Keith Miller stays in the game at second base for Wally Backman. Lee Mazzilli is now at first base for Keith Hernandez. Al Pedrique is the third baseman in place of Howard Johnson. And in place of Ralph Kiner, back in the booth, Tim McCarver.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Top of the 7th inning. It's 7-2 Red Sox. The Red Sox certainly wished, I'm sure, or wish that either Game 6 or Game 7 would have ended that way. Last October. Here's Pat Dodson, swings and misses. You see that one-handed release. That's a Walt Reniak teaching method. Dwight Evans, Rich Gedman, the departed catcher of the Red Sox, uses that method. And obviously Pat Dodson, who had 27 home runs, 102 runs driven in Pawtucket last year. Steve, we have a very unusual development in the plunking of Darryl Strawberry by Al Nipper back in the 2nd inning. The commissioner of baseball, Peter Ueberroth, is attending this game along with Bart Giamatti, the president of the National League, and Commissioner Ueberroth has issued a statement saying that he has been told of some of the unusual facts regarding this incident, and if they turn out to be true, he will take appropriate action.
Which would indicate a fine against Nipper.
Or a suspension. And I have never heard of anything like that happening in spring training. An on-the-field incident that would warrant a fine from the commissioner of baseball.
I don't even remember the commissioner getting involved in anything on the field in spring training.
Commissioner Ueberroth has proven that he will be involved in everything that happens in this game in no uncertain terms, as Kevin Elster throws out Pat Dodson, one away here in the 7th. We mentioned that swing of Pat Dodson's. Maybe we can take a look at it, that top hand coming off the bat.
Ordinarily, both hands would stay on the bat as the batter finishes up, but you can see that this is by design. Dodson keeping that head in there, but releasing after contact is made. It'd be a little hard to release prior to contact.
Unless you want to hit one-handed.
Guys
I
have
always
done it.
found it very useful to use both hands while swinging the bat.
What about Pete Gray?
Pete Gray did not exactly do that. Of course, he
had no
didn't
choice.
That's right. Mike Greenwell grounds it to second. Keith Miller tested immediately. And he throws out Greenwell 2 away here in the 7th, 7-2 Boston. the batter, Glenn Hoffman, the third baseman.
Hoffman's had a pretty good day. 2 for 3. He's reached on an error, scored a run.
Slider tried to hold up. He went too far. The Red Sox would love to see a healthy Glenn Hoffman, and then there is talk of the possible trading of Spike Owen to get a much-needed pitcher, especially if this Roger Clemens thing goes much longer. Clemens being fined $1,000 a day as the Red Sox have renewed his contract. I think the offering prices are, I believe they renewed it at $100,000 less than their last offer.
I think you're right.
$400,000. Clemens without the leverage of at least 3 years in the major leagues. 3-1 to Hoffman.
And that was a big concession that management won in the last contract, reducing the arbitration from the first 2 years to having to be in the big leagues 3 years.
This misses with the fastball. Second walk issued by Doug. And the batter, Danny Schaefer, who caught in Pawtucket, the AAA affiliate of the Red Sox last year, batting .340, only 260 at-bats. He broke his ankle, was out the month of June. That was a mighty big concession as far as Roger Clemens is concerned. Little looper into left center. It might drop, and it does, in front of Kevin McReynolds. So Danny Schaefer has a base hit. Red Sox 2 on, 2 out. They lead 7-2. We're in the 7th. Our first game on WOR will be back at you Monday night. 7:30 game time. Pete Rose and his Cincinnati Reds travel to Al Lang Stadium. One of 3 contests against the Reds right here on OR this spring.
That's right. We'll have 2 games here at Al Lang against Cincinnati, and we will be in Tampa next weekend for a game against the Reds here on WOR.
Rochford, the batter, and he takes a strike. The pitcher, Mike Rochford, from that lovely little town, Burlington, Vermont.
And you love to go up there in October and November.
Yes, sir. See the foliage. One and 2 to Mike. Beautiful day here in St. Petersburg, Florida. High chopper. Elster quickly on top of it to throw out Rochford. No runs, a hit, and 2 left here in the 7th after 6.5. It's 7-2 Boston. We'll be back after this word from the good Olds guys.
Now's the time to make a smart move on a new Olds, because Oldsmobile now offers new 3.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing on every Delta 88, Cutlass Sierra, Cutlass Supreme, Olds Calais, and Forenza. 3.9%, that's smart. Or get as much as $1,200 cash back direct from Olds, depending on the options you buy. That's smart too. The choice is yours. No matter how you look at it, you're going to save money on a brand new Olds. Now that's the smartest move of all. So see your participating Olds dealer for qualification details today.
Well, fans, join the Mets as they celebrate Opening Day 2, Thursday afternoon, April 9th, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Opening Day 2, which promises to be just as exciting as Opening Day, is also Sony Tape World Champs Keychain Day, as all fans in attendance will receive a brass keychain commemorating the Mets' 1986 World Championship. Opening Day 2 also marks the return of Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney's the perfect host for Opening Day 2 because neither one gets any respect. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or you can call 718-507-TIXX for more information.
And we also want to remind you that the Mets' first home weekend series of the 1987 season is also Snapper Calendar Weekend. All fans attending the Mets Atlanta Braves games on Saturday and Sunday, April 11th and 12th, will receive a full-color 1987 team calendar featuring memorable moments from the Mets' 1986 World Championship season. This commemorative calendar also includes a full-color pull-out team poster of the 86 World Champion Mets, all courtesy of Snapper Lawn and Garden Equipment. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or you can call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Don't forget, it's Snapper Calendar Weekend, the first weekend of the season, Saturday and Sunday, April 11th and 12th. We'll see you at Shea for some more baseball like it ought to be. Or like it ought to be. Well, here's our first Bill Webb sign of the year. First of many.
And it won't be the last, I was going to say.
No, I'll tell you, a lot of people out there have no idea who we are, but they all know who Webb is. I don't know how that happened.
I do. He works the cameras. Kevin Elster leads it off for the Mets here in the bottom of the 7th. Kevin, as a pinch hitter, hitting for Charlie Carbell, flied to right his last time up, and he takes the fastball inside. 7-2, Boston. We're in the 7th. The Mets started training here in St. Petersburg in 1962, taking over the facilities of the New York Yankees. As you look at John McNamara with his pitching lieutenant, Bill Fisher, 2-1 to Elster. This being the 26th spring of the Mets down here, they will be moving next year to Port St. Lucie on the East Coast.
And that complex well underway over there. The stadium almost completed.
Little jam shot to shallow center, and it drops. So Elster has a little nubber. Kevin now 1 for 2, and he leads off the 7th on base, and the batter Mookie Wilson.
Well, sometimes you just don't get all of it. You can see that Kevin was a little behind the pitch, hit it down on the trademark, and ordinarily when you're behind the ball, you can see Bill Robinson talking to him about that very thing. You do pop the ball up. That time it just dropped in an area where there wasn't anybody.
Wilson popped to second in the 6th inning in his first at bat. Entered the game defensively in the 5th. Line to center. And the center fielder Kevin Romine makes the catch. 1 out here in the 7th, and the batter Wally Backman. I beg your pardon, Keith Miller. I beg your pardon, Lee Mazzilli. 3rd time's a charm.
In spring training, wonderful.
Oh, it's great.
But what a spring training Maz has had. He has New York's only 2 home runs this spring. He's hitting .545 so far in spring training, and he leads the club with 6 RBIs.
And the Red Sox remember Lee Mazzilli also. 2 key hits in games 6 and 7. Last year during the series, he scored 2 runs and really ignited the Mets, getting on base in both ball games. Changeup is outside. Rochford appears to have good stuff. Tall left-hander, 6'6", 195 pounds. Ball high and away, 2-1. Mike's father in the Boston Braves organization, which is an interesting story. Boston Braves, of course, leaving Boston, I believe, in 1954. The throw over to Romero, and they're not going to get Mazzilli, who runs very well. 2 outs, and with Mazzilli on, and the batter Al Pedrique.
Pedrique's been all over the place so far this spring. He's played all 4 infield positions for the
Watson playing behind Mazzilli at first. Al 4 for 8 on the year, on the spring. Luke down the right field line, and on the run, Mike Greenwell, and he makes the catch. No runs, a hit, 1 left in the Mets half of the 7th inning, and after 7, a reuniting of the World Series participants of 1986. The Red Sox winning this one 7-2. We'll be back after this word from the Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
You bet the pride is back with $900 cash back on an all-American Plymouth Reliant and savings of $671 more on popular equipment. Right now, save up to $1,571. And Reliant comes with Plymouth's new 770 protection plan.
The pride is back, born in America again.
Drive with the pride. Drive into your Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
A burst of data, and then a pause. Another burst, another pause. That's the accepted, inefficient nature of data transmission. But at Bell Atlantic, we found a way to fill those wasteful pauses. Now, many companies can share the use and the cost of expensive data lines. Managing communications technologies to meet your needs, that's what sets us apart. The companies of Bell Atlantic. We make technology work for you.
It's the economy.
Oh, Russell, what kind of motor oil are you using?
Motor oil is motor oil. Motor oil definitely is not motor oil. A 4-cylinder engine works harder and needs the extra protection of specially formulated Valvoline 4-guard.
Not much of a break this year.
It's the economy.
Oh, Russell.
Catch the latest sports and all the news tonight at 8.
Very popular addition to the Mets ball club this spring. Clint Hurdle back with New York for his 2nd tour of duty. And Jesse Orosco in relief, the 4th Met pitcher of the afternoon.
Jesse's already picked up a couple of saves this spring. He's also won 2 ball games. Take that back, he does not have a save this spring. McDowell has the 2 saves. But Jesse is 2-0 this spring. He's making his 4th appearance. And, of course, he, along with McDowell, having an outstanding 1986 out of the bullpen for New York. And Jesse on the mound and celebrating rather demonstratively, getting the final out of the 7th game of the World Series.
Kevin Romine, a young center fielder, the batter. He batted .290 at Pawtucket last year. And the fastball for a strike. Popped up right side, Mazzilli back, Keith Miller over, and he makes the catch. 1 away.
Pop-ups, even on a day like today when the wind is not a big factor, are still somewhat of an adventure here in Florida because of the high sky. No clouds up there to give you any depth perception today.
If you can catch a pop fly in Florida, you can catch him anywhere. Spike Owen, the batter.
And Arizona is very similar for spring training in that the sky is
same sky,
pretty
right?
much the same.
Fastball outside, 1-0.
I think it's even the same sun that shines on Arizona.
I've heard that. I've never been to Arizona, but so I can't verify it. Fastball is high, 2-0.
Bill Webb says it's the western sun that shines out there. I think that's just a vicious rumor.
It's not a vicious rumor. It's just a rumor.
All rumors are vicious. Especially when Webb starts them.
3-0 to Spike Owen. believe that's his real name, as a matter of fact.
Yes, it is.
3-1.
Spike D. Owen. Spike D. Owen.
No, wasn't that...
The D middle name is not an initial, it's D-E-E.
Yep, I believe Spike was his mother's maiden name, as a matter of fact. This ball over the head of left fielder Kevin McReynolds as Spike spikes one. NCAA tourney time.
Spike's first hit in 5 at-bats, and it's a solid shot. Line drive over McReynolds' head, one hopping the wall. But I believe you're right, Timmy. His mother's maiden name was Spike, and his given name is Spike, and the middle name D-E-E. Owen. Not a name that you hear every day.
No. Unless it's a sobriquet, of course. Ed Romero, the batter, an acquisition by the Red Sox from the Milwaukee Brewers. That utility man can play any infield position well. 1-0 to Ed Romero. Grounded foul, 1-1. You and Ralph were talking earlier about the ages of the Red Sox players and about wine and only wine with age. And it reminded me of a quote from Roger Angel's article about the World Series in Game 7. I'll share that with you momentarily. It's that split finger fastball from Orozco, and it's 2-1 as it was high. Angel said that Game 7 of the series was another great game, but even noble vintages can become a surfeit after enough bottles have been sampled. Gives you an idea of the postseason play of both of these ball clubs.
There are a lot of things written by Roger Angel that are most quoted.
We talked about the Game 5 that the Red Sox played in California. Game 6, the Mets played in Houston. As baseball being in its priceless, clockless limbo.
Perfect. And that's really what it was. You could also throw in the 16-inning affair in Houston.
Yeah, the Game 5 in California, the Red Sox in California, and Game 6, the Mets at Houston. That will be played, replayed. He said that in New York City, after Game 6, that there was the great murmuring of the city. You could almost hear it, can't you? Yep. Wilson over into right center to make the catch off the bat of Ed Romero. 2 out here in the 8th inning. Red Sox on top, 7-2.
New York is a city that I think constantly murmurs.
In different ways.
Yes.
Yells a few times, too.
Even at 3 or 4 a.m., it's been known to murmur.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, really?
Todd Bensinger, the batter. 2 out. 2 out and Owen on second.
I wonder if anybody out there's buying that.
They better. Honest to a fault, pal.
That's right, I forgot. Those museums and libraries are closed at that.
That's exactly right. Precisely 1-0 to Todd Bensinger. 7-2, Red Sox on top. Popped up in the infield. Pedrique, the third baseman, and he makes the catch. So a strong inning for Orozco. He gave up a harmless double to Spike Owen. It's still 7-2 after 7.5. We'll be back after this word from Manny Haney, Manufacturers Hanover.
Your financial picture. It's brighter than ever before. But to get where you want to go, you need more than traditional banking. We're Manufacturers Hanover. We'll introduce you to a world of advanced financial services. From banking at home to personal money management, We'll help speed you toward your financial goals. Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide.
This Bud's for all that you do.
Say, landscaper, tomorrow college student.
Yep.
Finally took your advice, Mike.
You taught him.
Already you're smart.
All you knew. They say he's a lot like you. Yeah, you make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
To a future architect. And to a brother who made it possible.
This Bud's for you.
Mitsubishi, are you looking for the perfect feel, the perfect style, the perfect deal, Mitsubishi?
Sure, I considered buying a Toyota Cressida or Nissan Maxima, but when I realized I could get all that luxury for a lot less money, I bought this Mitsubishi Galant. Then with all the money I saved, I put a down payment on a brand new Mirage. For Marge.
The perfect place, the perfect time.
See your tri-state Mitsubishi Motors dealer today.
Mitsubishi.
Well, a lovely, lovely day here in St. Petersburg. Not so lovely for the Mets as they trail 7-2. The Red Sox have a new pitcher, Steve Crawford, and you have a new play-by-play man in the person of Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Tim. Keith Miller leads it off. Clint Hurdle and Kevin McReynolds scheduled to follow, and Miller fouls Crawford's first offering back for strike one. Miller went in as a pinch runner for Gary Carter. This is his first at bat.
Some guys that just look like hitters, and Keith Miller is one of those.
329 at Jackson last year. And he gets it right back up the middle. Romero over to pick it up, and just does get him at first base. And there are a few thousand umpires who disagree with the call by Rich Garcia. One away.
Well, the exuberance of youth almost gains a base hit for Keith Miller in a very close play at first. Love to see that, running hard 90 feet.
And Clint Hurdle, the batter, his first at bat. And Hurdle takes a strike. Keith, of course, or rather Clint, with St. Louis last year after spending the 1985 season with the Mets. And it's ball 2-0. Hurdle's hitting .375 this spring, 4 hits and 11 at-bats with no homers and an RBI. Fouled out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike. Clint, one of those guys that fulfills the oft-repeated cliche, good guy to have on the club. Great attitude, been around the game now for about 10 years.
Only problem as far as Clint's concerned, he's been on the wrong clubs the last 2 years.
They got it backwards, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's on the Cardinals. Last year, the Mets won it. He was on the Mets in '85, and the Cardinals won it.
Count full now at 3-2 as he fouls off another one. Clint says this time he's going to get it right. 3rd time's the charm.
He will have to make the ball club, however. Mets planning on carrying 3 catchers, and Clint is not in their immediate future, so he will most likely start the season in Tidewater.
Clint really is an insurance policy, basically. And it's ball 3, now 3-2. The scoreboard was wrong, and they got me again. Full count now. You see the stripes on the sleeves of the Mets uniforms. That's new for this year. There's ball 4. So with 1 out, Hurdle draws a walk from Crawford. Crawford's first walk, and the 3rd issued by Boston pitcher.
A lot of uniforms are changing this year. Not only colors, or the uniform this year.
True.
Oakland A's are going back to their old Philadelphia A's look. The Atlanta Braves are changing to the Milwaukee Brave look, the tomahawk with the Braves over the top. Houston Astros will no longer be adorned as doormen.
Or rainbows. Someone said, and I don't drink, so you got to help me with this if it's correct or not, but someone said that their uniforms look like a tequila sunrise.
I can't help you with it.
Okay. McReynolds fouls it back, and it's 1-1. McReynolds 0 for 2 plus a walk. Popped out, fly deep to left center. And he walked his last time up in the 6th inning. He is the only Met in the original starting lineup still in there.
Trying to get me in trouble today.
Oh, no.
You're trying to peak too early.
Nice play by Hoffman on a high chopper to throw out the runner at first base, Clint Hurdle at second. So McReynolds reaching on the fielder's choice is at first now with 2 away.
Was a good play, not necessarily on the ball hitting the glove, but when Hoffman elected to make the play, he didn't allow the ball to hit the ground, thereby making it a tough chance. He made an easier chance out of it. McReynolds with that quiet bat.
That he appeared to be fooled a little bit on that pitch out in front. Of course, this is the time of year when hitters are fooled a lot. And the batter, Greg Olson, batting for the first time. Olson going behind the plate to spell Garrett Carter midway through the game, and he gets knocked back with a little breezer. Olson hit 199 at Jackson, but 327 in 55 at-bats at Tidewater last year. Grounded sharply to third. Hoffman picks it, however, and again goes to second for the force, and the inning is over. A walk and 1 left here in the 8th for the Mets. We'll go to the 9th inning with Boston leading 7-2 after this word from American Express Gold Card.
Over the course of a year, keeping track of your life can be even more exhausting than living it. So to make things less hectic, American Express presents yet another important Gold Card service. Order. Announcing the year-end summary. All your Gold Card charges over the past year itemized, categorized. Only from American Express.
Excitement. If they make your temperature rise, Nissan has 3 kinds of heat.
We got the power to make you move. We make you feel like driving. We make you feel like driving.
The hot new wide-open Pulsar NX. The hotter V6 200SX. The hottest 300ZX ever. They're what hot driving is all about.
We make you feel like driving. And the name is Nissan.
Tina Turner's latest hot hit, Tuesday night at 7:30.
As we go to the 9th, the 5th pitcher of the day for New York is Reggie Doby.
Doby from the lovely little community of Rosedale, Mississippi. He was 13-7 last year, playing in his home state, Jackson, Mississippi. Oil Can Boyd of the Red Sox, also from down in that area.
Reggie struck out 123 batters in 155 innings at Jackson last year. And he, like Charlie Corbell, who pitched earlier in the game for New York, does not figure in the Mets rotation or really.
Well, it's interesting about Corbell. It was kind of a big outing for him today, and I'll tell you why.
All right. Pat Dodson leads it off in the 9th.
Corbell was drafted from the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants have told the Mets that if he doesn't make the ball club, they will exercise their right to take him back after spring training. So if Charlie Corbell does not make the Mets roster, he will be with the San Francisco Giants again, and that's what the draft from the Major League roster means, that if you don't carry that player on the Major League roster, then for half the money which you paid, which I think is still $25,000, or $12,500.
The other club can buy him back.
Yeah, so in effect, you pay $12,500 to take a look-see to see if you are going to carry that player. But with the Mets pitching as strong as it is, it's doubtful that Corbell will be with the ball club.
Just out of play on top of the Boston dugout. Olson giving it a look, but it's 2 balls, 1 strike to Pat Dodson. And of course, the Mets knew that. They had that full well in mind when they drafted him off of the San Francisco roster. They knew that that would be the case. But they are always on the lookout for talent,
especially pitching. Of all the axioms in baseball, I think one of the truer ones is that you can never have enough good pitching.
And strike 3. So Doby records his first out by the strikeout. That's the first strikeout the Mets pitchers have recorded since Sid Fernandez struck out 4 in his 3 innings of work to start the ball game. And Mike Greenwell, who grounded to second his first time up, will be the batter with 1 out and nobody on. Good cut at a good pitch, strike 1. Seven runs on 12 hits. 1 error for Boston. 1-1 to Greenwell. 2 runs on 6 hits. I have the Mets with 13 hits, though. I mean, the Red Sox with 13 hits. The Mets have 2 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Two guys trying to impress their respective managements.
Talking about us?
No, actually, I was talking about, it's not a bad idea. We need all the help we can get, but speaking of Doby and Dodson. Spring training means different things to different people, and Greenwell, I said. Dodson was the batter before. But Greenwell, Dodson also, and Doby in a position to try and make their mark, do something impressive. Unlike veteran players who are trying to get themselves ready for the season. This one is ripped down the right field line, but it's going to be curving foul. And the count full of 3-2. Greenwell was with the ball club with Boston the end of last season. And Doby pretty much ticketed for AAA. Grounded sharply to first. Mazzilli right there in his tracks will take it himself. And there are 2 away. And the batter will be Glenn Hoffman. And here we are above Al Lang Field.
It's sunny out there, but it's dark up here, right?
Isn't it? No lights up here.
And to the right of your screen, Ralph Kiner diligently, even though he is diligent, I'll tell you. I don't know what he's doing. What are you doing?
He's trying to keep track of what's going on the field. Ralph will have a special preseason Kiner's Corner for you right after the game. The first 1987 edition of Kiner's Corner in its 26th year.
Correct.
Got to be one of the longest running television shows ever. Hoffman 2 for 3 plus a walk. Skies went into short left center, and Mookie Wilson hauls it in for the third out of the inning. So Reggie Doby retires the side in order here in the ninth, and we'll go to the bottom of the ninth with Boston leading New York by 5, 7-2 after this for Delta Airlines.
She's from Western.
Of all the airline mergers, one really stands out because it's the people of Western joining the people of Delta. And when pros start working together, you know what you have? An all-star team. That's how the best get better.
This is going to be quite a team. You're right.
At Bay Ridge, it's my family. Make buying cars simple, right? Choose your car. We got thousands, backed by quality service. No matter which Bay Ridge, Dodge, Hyundai, Lincoln Mercury, Mitsubishi, Subaru, and Toyota, you get the lowest price. We guarantee it.
And we deliver.
Back to our game. Kids, what's the molecular weight of glutamic acid?
147 Daltons.
Wilton had it. In Haydn's Symphony number 11,
B-flat.
to the tiebreaker. The 9X Yellow Pages has always had more information than any competing directory. Why would anyone need another? Kids?
The 9X Yellow Pages. It's the one you've always had. It's the only one you need.
RC Cola. Some people go out of their way for the taste of it.
Bottom of the ninth here in St. Petersburg with Boston leading 7-2. Joe Sambito on the mound for Boston, whose career has really been resurrected since he had a short stint with the Mets after great years in Houston and serious elbow problems. Has really done a good job, did at the end of last season out of the bullpen for Boston.
12 saves in 40 games and a 2-0 record. And it's really nice to see a fine young man like Joe Sambito bounce back and be rejuvenated in a Red Sox uniform, or any uniform for that matter.
And Mark Carrion is going to be the hitter. The pitcher was scheduled up in the 8th spot, but Carrion was inserted in the top half of the 9th inning. And so he gets his first at bat. Carrion, an unusual, or at least rare player who actually throws left-handed and bats right-handed. Young outfielder who hit 289 at Tucson last year.
I don't believe the major leagues had a player last year, I mean, for the majority of the time, in the big leagues, a player, not a pitcher, who threw left-handed and batted right-handed. Aren't that many in, over the last 25 years. Carl Warwick, ex-teammate of mine, Cleon Jones, the ex-Met, of course, but not many.
And there's really not a lot of advantage in doing it.
Other than it, yeah. So it works for
Mark. Out into the street, but foul. That ball ran down by someone walking along the sidewalk. That guy right there, right before it went into Tampa Bay.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, there are a ton of guys who throw right-handed and hit left-handed.
Well, you can see the advantage in it because, as you were taught to hit left-handed early, there are more right-handed pitchers. Fly ball hauled in by Benzinger in left field, and Carrion becomes the first out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. But there really isn't a whole lot of advantage unless it's just something that you naturally must do because of your physical makeup to hit right-handed when you are a natural left-handed player. Kevin Elster's 1 for 2. He flied to shallow right and singled to center in the 7th. Batting with 1 out and nobody on. 7-2, Boston leading. High chopper to short. As it goes on by him. He sort of played it off to the side. And we'll see how it's scored.
Well, you really want to play a ball like that. It's like an outfielder charging a ball. You want to play it off to the side. You want to just make sure that the side is the side your glove's on.
But it looked like he didn't really have a beat on it.
That's one of those do or die plays. It's an in-between hop, and if he doesn't come up with it, he's got to catch it, bring it around, and make the throw all in one motion. Otherwise, you're not going to get a guy like Elster.
So a base hit.
One of those do or die deals.
Yep. You either do or you don't.
Yep.
And Mookie Wilson, the batter. Mookie's 0 for 2. Elster at first with his second hit. And a big cut, but no contact, and it's strike one. Glenn Dykstra started the game in center field, but had to leave in the 4th inning when he strained some rib muscles throwing. So Mookie Wilson was in there a little earlier than originally anticipated. And a slicing line drive that's going to be a game-ending double play. No! They say the first baseman, Dodson, was off the bag, and Elster is safe. The throw from Romero was in plenty of time to double up Elster, but first base umpire Rich Garcia called him safe.
Ball really scorched by Wilson, and we'll see. Yeah, he was off the bag. That's really a good call by Rich Garcia, especially since that would have been the last play of the game.
And here we are in spring training. It's a 5-run lead, and you figure almost an automatic out. But to Garcia's credit, he made the proper call, and the game will continue.
And to Dotson's credit, probably what pulled him off the bag was his ability to try to stay out of the way of Kevin Elster, because had he made the normal stretch, he gets the out, but he probably steps on Elster, possibly causing an injury of some kind.
So Lee Mazzilli will get a chance to bat, and he bounds one to Romero, who throws him out, and now the game is over. So Joe Sambito comes on and pitches the 9th, allowing 1 base hit. And the Boston Red Sox, with 2 3-run innings in the 4th and the 5th, get some measure of revenge in an interesting spring training rematch. And as Timmy said earlier, some people called it Game 8 of the 1986 World Series. However, it is of little consequence that the Boston Red Sox win it 7-2. Tim and I'll be right back with a wrap-up, and of course, Ralph is standing by with a spring training edition of Kiner's Corner. So stay with us. We'll be back to St. Petersburg and Al Lang Stadium after this for Bud Light.
Howdy.